Yeah, sure, I know. Now, if I go through your CV again, 1985 to 88. Then you have Mauli School, where you had your GCE O levels, 1988 to 91. Does that mean that because you finished the JSS, you started from Form 2?
Yes, I went to the experimental JHS, well, JSS those days it was called. So when you finish your 3 years there, you go straight to secondary school, Form 3. Then you just do 2 years, then you do the O level. That is why it's like that.
Very well. So yes. I just needed you to clarify. Please, let's go to page 2 of your CV. So you've indicated the 2014 to date, K and Partners Limited. Position held, principal consultant. I need 2 clarifications from you. 1, were you a registered director of this company or you were just an employee?
I'm the founder of the company.
Very well. Then, when you come to Architects Co-Partners Limited, you also have the consultant, into bracket partner. Again, clarify. Are you a partner by directorship and ownership, or you are just a partner?
I operated K and Partners in the United Kingdom until I returned to Ghana in 2010. It was still in operation when I got to Ghana. I got involved in Architect Co-Partners, who belongs to a relative. And I took it over consultant. And then since then, I'm still a director and a partner of Architect Co-Partners as well.
Yes, so just the clarification again, because you said 2010 to date, you know, if you check on it, 2010 to date. So I just wanted you to clarify whether whilst you were in Ghana serving as a member of parliament, you were still in the employ of that company and whether the company at all was operational, you know.
Architect Co-Partners is not very active today. K and Partners is slightly more active than Architect Co-Partners. But you will see 2010 till today simply because I got involved with Architect Co-Partners since 2010 and closed down K and Partners in the UK and restarted it in Ghana from 2014.
Very well. So you may want to do some amendments in future to that, the Architect and Co-Partners.
Thank you very much.
All right. Honorable, so again, normally we take dispensation from the speaker to practice our profession, those of us who are still in active projects. Did it ever happen that the need arose for you to take some permission from speaker to enable you practice, or really you were not too active?
Yes, in fact, I was a member of one of my favorite committees is a committee of members holding office of profit. So I made sure I took permission. We just started the 9th Parliament, and I will be doing that as soon as Parliament is properly constituted.
Well, suffice to state that you may not have the time to practice your profession. The heavy load of the Rose Minister may not permit you, but anyway, that's okay. Apart from these companies that you founded, are there other companies that you founded that you've not stated on your CV, please?
Yes, I have a parent company that I use to run other interests.
What's the name of that company?
I want to reserve since I didn't state it officially on my CV, I want to reserve the
No,
right.
it doesn't matter. I'm on notice of it, or it has come to my. I was going to put that to you.
Okay.
I haven't laid the foundation, so I don't mind if it pleases you to.
I run Southwell Technical Services and others as well.
Because I know that for a fact. So since I didn't find it, I thought perhaps it was an omission. So I was laying the foundation, then put it to you. But since you've disclosed it, there's no problem at all. So this is a Ghanaian registered entity, correct?
It's a Ghanaian registered entity.
Are you the sole shareholder?
I'm the sole shareholder in that one.
And how many of you are directors of this entity?
Two.
You and who, please? You and who, please?
You want me to mention the names of the people?
No, you said two. Two
Yeah,
of you are
two
directors. But you are the sole shareholder.
Yes. The other person is just a director, secretary.
I understand.
Okay.
No, the new registered general, the new regulation, the law we passed, we can't have secretary director. You must have a secretary and director. They must be separate. Previously, you can have secretary director. So I just want to know from you. You have a secretary to this company, separate or different from a director, or you have a director secretary?
As a matter of fact, I don't play active role in these entities that deals with this thing. So to not put out an information that is not completely accurate, I want to reserve that one until I check.
That's fair enough. So Kwame, let's go into your days as a minority chief whip. I still remember your midnight calls and early morning calls where you will state the principled position to me that although we've had an agreement to support government business, the party position is that you shouldn't. And you don't hide that from me, which I respect you for. One of the things you never did was to surprise me. So at least I knew what stance you had. Now, tell me, why is it that a lot of the times when you were opposing me, you look elsewhere? You wouldn't look in the correct direction. Why? What really was going through your mind? Why would you look? Why would you look down or look elsewhere in the process of firing at me, your tribesman?
Chairman, I must say the minority leader is a very good friend of mine, and I don't like disappointment. So if we go to a committee, take a decision on something, and it turns out not enough consultation has been done with my party, and by the time we finish the consultation, I need to change my stance, I feel I've let the committee down at that stage. So it is not comfortable to disappoint when I knew you were riding on my word. So, my very good friend, you know, it is not easy to stand in front of somebody who you believe trusts you to say that what I told you yesterday, I can't do it. So that is why it's difficult sometimes to look at you directly and say.
So, Kwame, I'm sure you have simplified matters. For those who perhaps found you to be very difficult to understand that this is the nature of politics, and some of our actions must not be held against that. I mean, that said, I want to know from you about this roto. When should Ghanaians expect it?
The issue about the road toll got the attention of the whole country. I'm of the view we shouldn't just, as a ministry, hurriedly put together something and spring a surprise on the public. I believe there has to be some engagement to consolidate our position. So what I can say is that quickly, the consultation can start. Exactly when would the rollout be? That would be part of the first budget of President Mahama to be presented to Parliament by the Finance Minister, your own good friend, Kasiel, Dr. Kasiel Atoforsen.
So, you mean the policy will be introduced in the first budget?
There will be a rendition in the budget which would set the tone for what we are going to do. I sincerely believe we need to end the road toll policy because there's a law on it. We need to, because what the law says still talks about toll booths and other things. And as I said, we are not going to build physical toll booths where drivers will stop and pay anything. So it requires us to actually amend the law. But the policy would appear in the financial policy of government when the first budget comes. Thereafter, the law, if whatever we need to do, would be brought to the House.
So you would agree with me that some costing would have to be done before the policy gets expression in the budget. You agree with me?
Certainly. We have done some simulations already. I am aware we have done some surveys, both at the ministry and some other people have done that already in terms of the collection of data. But we are yet to engage the public with the findings and then chart a way forward. Yes, by the time we are coming to Parliament, for the policy, we should have an idea. First of all, how much we intend to charge and how much accruals we expect and what that money is supposed to do. Particularly, Ghanaians must get to know what that money is supposed to do.
But do you think Ghanaians must equally know the cost of rendering the services vis-a-vis the platforms you are going to rely on, since it's a whole technology drive?
Of course, it's an inbuilt. The cost of deploying the technology will have to be part of the rollout, because you need technology, you need a platform, you have to pay for it. So the cost will have to be part of it.
Should Ghanaians understand you to mean that you would introduce a public tender for the purposes of this IT services with the sole purpose at rolling out this new tolling system?
At this stage, I can only say that it will have to be competitive, because not all public tenders give you the lowest evaluated figure. So I will leave it at this for now.
Mr. Govins Agbodza.
Actually, Kwame Agbodza.
Would it please you if I go our informal way? You refer to me as Kwame now. I refer to you as Kwame. Would you be comfortable with that so that I take permission from chair?
If you do not worry anybody here, we can do that.
Very well. So, Kwame, don't you think that the goodwill of your government, which you ride on, will mean that in this important policy, you roll it out through a public tender, and even so, segregate it instead of centralizing it, so that you can have more Ghanaians who have such technology to participate. So, for instance, in the southern sector, where you would have the Tema, the Wager area, you can have one tender lot, and then in the middle belt, the Kumasi area, you have another lot, in the western region, you can have another lot and northern region. Don't you think that some indicative assurances would help the ordinary Ghanaian entrepreneur in the IT field feel good about this?
Well, I'm most excited about your concluding part, which is to make this a Ghanaian-owned thing, which will give opportunity to Ghanaians. And I take on board your valuable suggestion that in the process of selecting the would-be operators, we should make it more open. I think it's a valuable idea. When we are doing the consultation, we would consider these things before we come up with a conclusion.
Chairman, some stakeholders have called for the suspension of Act 118. You know, it was a law we enacted to impliedly repeal the Act 540. That is so, the Ghana Highway Authority law. What is your own view about this?
The records in Parliament will show that I participated well in the formulation of that law. I am also aware that the implementation is currently receiving, what I said earlier was to say that when I get to the ministry with the kind support of this committee and plenary, I would listen to the stakeholders, i.e. mainly the agencies under the ministry, highways, feeder roads, and urban roads, to understand exactly what their challenges are. And then thereafter, come up with the best possible way of taking it forward, or if we need to tweak sections of the Act to address their issues, because I believe we need to listen to them and to address the issue. Then we can do that.
Kwame, I move to this point about quality of our roads. I hold the view that as a political class, we often get too hard. 16. I saw that road being asphalted all the way to the Achimota market, that link. In 2018, heavy potholes, the road had gone bad, and it had to be asphalted again. You and I know that you being a sector minister, you will not physically inspect every single road to get the certification done for payment. Yet, all the attacks will be on you as a minister and your government. What steps do you plan to put in place to ensure that our engineers who get on the field to certify quality of work done do so patriotically? Because, my dear colleague Kwame, the debts you talked about is likely due to repeats of construction. A road has been done in my constituency, Winneba, a road from Insuechi through Jahazi to Jenjenhazi, which was awarded and it was to be completed in 2008. It was done. Contractor, I don't want to mention his name, was paid. In 2009, between 2009 to 2012, again, during President Moses' era, we saw potholes and it had to be awarded again. So it was paid, awarded again to be paid. Then when Akufo-Addo came into office, 2017, all the way to 6th of January 2025, the road had to be re-awarded because it had gone very bad. So that stretch of less than 3 kilometers within a period of 10 years or less has been re-awarded on 3 occasions, all paid for by the state. I dug into this to now draw our attention as a political class to this very important matter where we play politics with everything and allow the corporates, those who are actually in charge of the drain on public purse, to go scot-free. I know you are very forthright, you are hardworking. How do you intend to deal with this matter?
Thank you, Chairman. On a lighter note, I now see how come my road was not done, because they did yours 3 times. And the money got finished, so they couldn't do.
Chairman, just by way of clarification, on the 2 occasions, it came under your administration, though. Oh, no, I said yours 3 times, that is what. So I got the joke, but just to clarify, that it was done again because it was bad. I have some that was done in your place. I'm going to refer to it later.
Yes, you are very right on this matter. I only hope that colleagues would see some of the criticisms we make not political. I remember very well when Honorable Yelechi was health minister. A project came here. And then our good friend, Honorable Opoku Prempe, who is no longer in Parliament, in a room not far from here, we took the contract and I opposed the amount and asked the ministry to go back and review the amount. They reviewed it and took out over $20 million out of the project. NDC was in government. I never saw NDC say I was playing politics. But these days, when I raise issues, it's politics. You are very right. Why is it that asphalt can be, in the town, can be anything 800 to $1.2 million per kilometer? It is not cheap. So when you have to lay it twice, imagine how many cheap compound that can do in our villages. So those who actually certify that I can say this has been done according to standard, and there's no asphalt that is done which is supposed to fail within 2 years, around 10 years. The wearing cost, the 50 mil wearing cost at least should to do that. So if it fails within 1 year, 2 years, it means it was not done well. My prescription is that if we're going to use external consultants, let them take professional indemnity insurance, so that if it fails and it can prove that it failed through negligence, the state can draw upon that insurance. Maybe that will be another way of dealing with it. Apart from that, the temptation is that when you are doing asphaltic overlay, because when you lay it few hours, it looks so smooth and so good. So irrespective of what the base is before you lay it on it, you may never know until after 6 months. So we need to work on those things. But the last one is, leader. The truth is that the ministries, the agencies under the ministry, do not have the full complement of engineers to supervise work. Many of them have more administrative staff than engineering staff, who are the people who actually carry out the supervision. So we need to work to help them recruit new engineers and build their capacity. Like I said, fortunately, Ghana has got a very good school in Koforidua, which trains road-related professionals. Thank you.
Honorable, you raised some concerns about 6-month non-payment clause in contracts. Correct?
Mention 6 months, but every contract, when written, they will tell you, especially road contract, when certificates are raised and payment is not made over a period, depending on the contract, that money money can attract 30% interest.
You think this is popular with contractors?
Or extremely popular with contractors. Bad news for government.
See, now let's go to the roads. You've complained about our indebtedness. Do you think you can achieve something significant between now and 2028 December?
Yes, President Mahama can achieve in the 4 years better than what we've seen in the last 4 years.
No, Kwame, don't let us go there.
Okay.
I mean, this is a very diplomatic, you see, where you are now, you know, if you go that part, then I may be compelled not to manage the leader relationship. So I will give you an opportunity to rephrase your answer.
Yes.
I am only an advisor to President Mahama on road matters as his Minister for Roads and Highways. Yes, I am saying yes, with the authority of President Mahama, we shall do better, or we shall achieve things on the road sector.
So I take the latter phrase. I take the latter phrase. That is very befitting of the where you sit now. I'm sure in the chamber this will be a different matter. Now let's delve a bit into that. You see, you have laid the foundation in an earlier answer to a question posed by my respected colleague Honorable Boama, when he sought your views on the contracts or works in motion in the sector, and you also took time to explain the indebtedness. Now, we are indebted to road contractors heavily. You've given the figures. And then we have contracts that are also ongoing, yet to be completed for them to even raise invoice. So if you say you are going to achieve so much, you are optimistic. Are you saying that added to this debt, you are going to award new contracts?
Thank you, Chairman. I earlier on said that the President is committed to continuing and completing ongoing projects. And I also suggested that it will be necessary that due to specific needs, some new project would have to be started. How do we fund this? My answer to that was that my job is to prepare project portfolios or reassess projects, put figures to them, and let the finance minister find ways of funding them. It's actually not my job to find money to pay for road contract. It is the job of the finance minister to do that.
Kwame.
Yes, leader.
So, you see, Ghanaians are interested in this part of the conversation. We have a major problem in our road sector. A lot of road contracts awarded. Now, you don't know how to even pay because the money is not there. Would you consider providing for these outstandings through your ambitious $10 billion infrastructure, the big, you call it what? The big push. The $10 billion infrastructure fund that you are looking at for the next 4 years or so?
No, the big push is not about paying for recurrent expenditure in the road sector. Yes, it is expected to be a special purpose fund over 4 years. Identify, prepare, and package specific impactful projects to be funded by the finance ministry. So we will continue to fund ongoing projects through the usual channels of budgetary allocations and other things. Big push is not intended to be just another money to pay for regraveling or pothole patching or rehabilitation of the standard things we do and every government does. That is not what it's intended to be. And it's not a 10 billion for road ministry only. It's infrastructure. So it is upon the president to determine the allocation as to what goes to health, education, transportation, and others.
Should the ordinary Ghanaian businessman who has taken a loan from the bank and use his assets as collateral to construct roads be assured that going in there as a minister, you will take steps to ensure prompt or regular payment?
Chairman, that is exactly so, and that is the vision of President Mahama, because that is the only way we can create sustainable, homegrown jobs. You know my credentials on this matter. I fought and got the contract with Motor Angels on the motorway terminated so that it will be awarded to a Ghanaian company, because I know that Ghanaian would employ Ghanaians and the benefit of that remains in our economy. So we need to do more of that for our Ghanaian businessmen. I believe road contractors or contractors generally are one of the most patriotic. Why? If somebody takes a public job and have decided to collateralize the roof over his head where he himself and his children, wife, everybody sits, how many people can do that? If the person is not patriotic, he wouldn't have done that. So Ghanaian contractors are actually patriotic. The problem comes when they take the loan and we are unfortunately unable to pay them for them to repay wherever they got the money from.
So should the ordinary Ghanaian businessman in the road sector be assured that you as minister will look at them and support them without first identifying them with any party color?
The industry players will tell you that I am the first to say that don't tag contractors with political colors, because I don't expect a contractor who, assuming he's even your friend, assuming you registered a company for him, I don't expect him to stop working because you are in opposition. I expect him to continue working as long as he's competent enough to do that. So I don't tag road contractors as partisan. Who they vote for, I don't know. As long as they do a good job and adhere to the tenets of the contract, we are ready to go.
So currently we have 233 contractors duly vetted and classified by the ministry, for which you know that the criteria for financial capability and technical record have been duly satisfied. To your mind, how can the classification system be used in a manner that would ensure meritocracy at the same time balance fairness?
The classification has to go in tandem with other support and including competency, because if it's just a matter of you want class A contractor, so you need a number of bulldozers, excavators, graders, tipper trucks, personnel in terms of engineers and other things. Any businessman can do that, but whether the person is committed to do the work is different. I also know contractors have issues with the way the classification is done in a way. You do a classification and say the highest level can do work up to a certain standard. Then when you bid, the guys at the top come and bid with the people lower here. But because of the capacity they have, then the lower guys can never get the award. So whilst we're doing the classification, it has to come together with other interventions to make sure players on the different stratas of operation can all participate in what we are expecting them to do. But it also depends on not only the record of their equipment and personnel, but their competency and the managerial skills of them. Construction projects are quite complicated, but people don't understand it. People look at the money and say it's a 1 billion Ghana project. They think that 1 billion is the one that is coming into your account. You just wake up one day and realize that you owe the bank 2 billion. And meanwhile, the project is still 1 billion on the site. So it's a very complicated thing.
As a roads minister, you would have quite a number of agencies under you. Through this transition period, have you had the opportunity to engage some of these agencies? And if so, which ones have you engaged so far?
I had the privilege of being part of President Mohamed's transition team that handled road and transport and the presidency. So I met almost everybody that matters in the road sector, all the chief directors and various entity heads and I met everybody during those interactions.
Now, you know that some of the chief executives of these agencies under you have subsisting contracts. And it is also obvious that there will be the need to make political appointment to head these agencies. That would come as a matter of course. I'm not taking you into the area of law, but would you want to be guided by law in how you ensure a smooth transition?
Certainly, but my biggest commitment will be to find the right person for the right job. If by law you are sitting somewhere but you have no value or you are unable to do what we want you to do, we would advise ourselves.
Yes, I agree. I mean, you are the political head, you would have to advise yourself. But should Ghanaians be assured that in advising yourself, you would ensure that you act within the ambit of the law?
We would act within the ambit of the law, but most importantly, in fulfillment of our manifesto promise and also the best value for Ghanaians.
Now, I've been in government before, so I do not want to pretend on this. For instance, DVLA, you are the sector minister. No, DVLA, sorry. Roads and highways, sorry about that. Thank you, colleagues. Roads and highways. You need to have a chief executive for roads and highways. Under normal circumstances, some consultations would ensue. In situations where you would hear of a new appointment in the papers and given your commitment to ensuring smooth transition, would you boldly take it up to address such untidiness, all in the best interests of Mother Ghana?
Chairman, that's exactly what I will do. That is why I avoided making direct comments about things like that, because to be honest, even during the transition, I never stepped foot at the ministry. Till today, I've never been there physically, because I want, if this house approves me, to go there with open mind. I don't want to go there with a baggage where I have preconceived ideas about anything. I want to go there and see for myself and take decisions that would be in the best interest of Ghanaians and in line with the vision of President Mahama.
Now, there is this road, Akwete Adaklu Wire Road. You know about it?
Yes, that sounds like a road in my village.
Very well. I am saying that indeed, as you said, it sounds like a road in your village. May I put it to you that indeed it is a road in your village? Have you seen any improvement on this road?
In 2016, Honorable Inusa Fuseini, under a program, awarded a number of road projects across the country. Akwete Wire, Abwadi, Nochrepe Abwadi Wire to Kaime was part of those projects. I think September 2016, and award letters came out. We went into an election in December the same year, and we lost. The contractor delayed and came to site far later than that. So the project was done after we left office, though we awarded it, and that is the fact. The good thing, though, is that whenever the regional minister, the former regional minister, Dr. Lecha, was going for an inspection, he acknowledged the fact that I did some legwork as a member of parliament and got that approved. So he always took me along. I remember one day we went on site, and one of his party people tried to do politics, and he told him, not here. You have to give credit where it is due. The only difficulty is that that road is already requiring maintenance, just like your own, because the way it was done, maybe it should have been better. So it's even requiring further attention as we speak.
Kwame, you know, in the chamber, you would always emphasize that Adaklu is Adaklu and Ho is Ho. Your constituency is not part of Ho. Why the emphasis for the difference? Why the emphasis?
Well,
are these two separate traditional areas?
Yes.
And if so, even if they are separate traditional areas, are they of the same group or different?
Well, if we talk about the people, you and I have our parents from different places, but we are somewhere. So you can imagine if you share boundary with another town. So Ho and Adaklu, if you were to be coming from, I assume you know Ho, on the way from Ho towards Sogakope, going to Sogakope, it will be difficult to tell where is Ho and where is Adaklu because they are almost becoming twin towns. So yes, Adaklu is separate from Ho. The confusion, a bit confusion I've seen in recent time started when in 2016, the NDC decided to donate some land to government through some families to build a regional sports stadium. That land is largely in Adaklu because you can't get that size of land inside the boundaries of Ho. We couldn't do that before we lost the election. When the NPP came, they wanted to do these regional youth centers. They fell upon part of that land and built it. It became a bit of challenge, and I must commend my brother, the former sports minister, who set the record straight that yes, it is a Volta Regional Youth Center, but the location is in Ho, but it's in Adaklu. And the president himself, when he came and we were lucky to host the 6th match there, he said categorically, we are in Adaklu. So when he came, he paid a courtesy call on my revered chiefs and made them aware. So, but there's no challenge between us and whole people. It's just the issue of that boundary, which is not even a boundary dispute or anything. So, yes, Ho and Adaklu are different in terms of traditional areas.
So, Keta, Anoga, Aplao area, they describe themselves as Anglo people. So the Adaklu Ho area, how do you describe yourself?
I know a Ho, they call themselves Asogli. And then Daklu, we call ourselves Bekou. So they are completely different. So Ho is Asogli. So the paramount chief, Togbe Afede is there, and then we have our Togbe Acha.
Chairman,
as
point of order.
The paramount chief of Adaklu.
I'm using persuasion. Chairman.
Okay, my respected colleague, the chair, who is also a family member, has just given me some education on even the further breakdowns that we have the Anglo, Aveno, and then the tongue, and all those breakdowns. Anyway, so in concluding, I would want to know from you, what is your source of inspiration for public service?
First of all, I think politics is for good. I am never somebody who believes when I hear people say politicians are always the same. I believe a lot of the progress we have made in this country was championed by on the back of politics. My inspiration in this starts from the first president. It's about sacrifice and what Ghana achieved through the sacrifice of Osajifo Dr. Kwame.
Please order. Can we have some order?
So my inspiration is that our forebears sacrificed and built a foundation for our country, of which Ghana is respected everywhere in the world. So our generation must be inspired to do and build upon what our forebears have built. So yes, I'm in this because I believe I can contribute positively on top of what our forebears have done.
The young man at the university, the young man and the young woman at the College of Education, the Ghanaian youth who aspires to be a politician and aspires to be part of the political system of our country. What is your advice to them? They are listening to you.
Chairman, I may be biased, but my advice is, before you become a full-time politician, get a day job, which you can do even when you are a politician. In my own life, the resources I spend in my constituency, the bulk of it does not come from the sources in politics. As you know, our salary, my salary, and I show it to people in my constituency, is 15,000 cedis. At one weekend, by the time I finish my funeral rounds, I must have spent that. The rest is what I gather from the little consultancy and other small things I do. So my advice to the young man who wants to enter politics is get a day job that is sustainable first. Perhaps it will be easier to get a profession before you start, because it is not easy to do that in tandem. That is my advice.
Kwame, finally, to draw the curtains on this. What is your reaction, Chairman? I know the nominee would want to pay attention to the question, and I am equally aware that many of the members here, especially from the majority side, want to show face in the cameras so that they get appointment. Yes, that's on a lighter note. You should be able to take it. Stop. Take it. Take it. It's part of it. Don't react. Don't. Mr. Chairman, if they don't want to take this little joke, maybe yes. The point is that a lot of you are here. We know only few of you will be nominated. So please allow the few who have been nominated to go through their process of vetting. We will vet them.
You haven't finished.
We will vet them. And those of you who will not make it, you will be with us at the back bench. When you are in government and you don't appoint you, you and the opposition MP, the value is the same. Chairman, whether micro minority or mighty minority or backbench majority, the value is the same. They don't appoint you into government. So it is only 60 regional ministers, deputy ministers, substantive ministers. A lot of you will not make it. Anyway, Chairman, to draw the curtain on this, Kwame, I would want you to be firm. I worked with Honorable Amakwata. I was the chair of the Root Fund. And I know the pressure that was on him. Ghanaians are, some Ghanaians are capable of describing you in all manner of ways, calling you all manner of names. But if you really want to carry through the inspiration that brought you into public service, you must shut it, be firm, and move on. The drain on the public purse is getting out of hand, but we, the political class, are the cause. So make a difference. I entertain no doubt in your ability to do that and just that. Thank you so much indeed. Chairman, I am done.
Yeah. Thank you, Leader.
All members, order. Order. Thank you very much. All members, may I use the opportunity to recognize some dignitaries who are here to support the nominee, Minister Designate for Roads and Highways. All members, we have in our midst Jerry Yao Amako, Chairman Adaklo. We have Togui Agbobada, Chief of Amfwe Adaklo. We have Mauto Agbavito, Volta Regional Chairman, NDC. We have Raymond Amanuvie, Secretary Adaklo. We have Sky Ganaku, former DC Adaklo. Christian Vadanu, Branch Chairman Adaklo. Nelson Glate, former youth organizer. Honorable Juliana Azuma Mensa, former MP Agwatima Ziopi. Honorable Ludic Hoje, former national youth organizer, and Prosper Lechu. You are welcome. Honourable members, I want to thank the nominee for attending. Okay, we also have Honorable James Kluche Aveji, former member, Ketu North.
Celebrated Public Accounts Committee.
And former chairman, Public Accounts Committee. Honourable members, I thank the nominee for attending upon the House and answering questions answering numerous questions. It's now my turn to ask you questions, but have listened to your answers to questions posed. I do not have any question for you, but to congratulate you for attending upon the committee. Surely you will hear from the committee. You are hereby discharged.
Thank you, Chairman of the committee.
The next nominee is Honorable Haruna Iddrisu. So he should take the seat. Minister designate for Education. Please, time is fast spent. So you give way to the next nominee and those who are here to give him moral support.
Kwame, Governor. We are at the Blaster Square for the presidential inauguration setup.
We are ready to so where will we start?
And so you saw the vetting process done, just completed for Governs Kwame Agbodza, who is the Minister Designate for the Ministry of Roads and Highways. And earlier this morning, before the vetting process started proper, there was a little chaos among the members of the vetting committee, basically because of some issues that the minority leader Alexander Penyomarking was raising right here. And so basically, what were these issues? He basically started reading a full court ruling on a matter that related to the vetting and dismissal of chief executive officers, which many of the members in this committee believed was totally irrelevant to the substantive matter of vetting a minister, which of course they're here to do. And so they were calling on the chairman to rule him out completely. But it seemed that the chairman allowed both sides to banter a bit longer of a period than expected, which caused more than an hour delay. And now you can see joining the vetting process and the committee, the Minister Designate for the Ministry of Education, Haruna, Honorable Haruna Iddrisu. Dressed very beautifully. He seems very happy and ready for the ministerial vetting process. You can see him greeting most of the members right here of the committee. I can hear some of them already cautioning upon your marking not to cause another brawl in this vetting process. And yes, the meeting is being called to order. And this process is now about to start. The clerk of the committee is proceeding to administer the oath for the designated minister for the Education Ministry, Honorable Haruna Iddrisu.
Babaru, you seem to be in a hurry. Babaru.
He's always in a hurry.
Babaru. No, ranking.
Is it new to you?
Babaru.
Approve. Let's go. Approve.
Babaru. You saw what your people did this morning. No opening remarks. We will do opening remarks on your turn. Babaru.
I swear by Allah that the evidence I shall give before this committee
touching the matter in issue
shall be the truth, the whole truth,
and nothing but
the truth.
So help me
Allah.
Chairman, thank you very much for the opportunity to make some few remarks. This is a very nostalgic moment for me, as you all very much aware. Honorable Haruna Iddrisu is a respected colleague who has inspired me in so many ways. On this occasion, and on this occasion only, the minority's position is that Dr. Yao Educhum shall take up. Very much aware, Honorable Haruna Iddrisu is a respected colleague who has inspired me in so many ways. On this occasion, and on this occasion only. And then the nominee will most likely be discharged. We are reminding the majority that they are well-behaved post-tracking of the nominee.
We behave well by that. We behave well. Also behave well. Behave well.
We behave well.
Honorable Educhum, you have the floor.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I also have that kind of nostalgic feeling coming to Parliament and having our leader guiding, mentoring, and now leaving the Education Ministry, and he's about to take over. So it's a very interesting moment. Let me first of all congratulate you, Honorable Haruna, on your nomination for this very, very important ministry.
Thank you.
For our great nation, Ghana. Honorable Chair, I know Honorable has done some work at the Ministry of Employment and Labor Relations. At that time, he superintended over TVET education for most of the TVET schools that are now under the Ministry of Education. Chair, I would like the nominee to share with us, beyond the manifesto commitments, what are some of the things that he's going to look out for in terms of the role of education in this fourth industrial revolution, 21st century. Education is very important. I want him to share with us what his ideas are and what are some of the things that he's going to be looking out for to ensure that we have a more robust education system. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. First Deputy Speaker and Chair of the committee, leadership of the committee, and Honorable Minority Leader, members of the Appointment Committee, and colleagues who have had opportunity to come and solidarize. It's my honor and privilege to respond to the question posed by the just past Minister for Education on what President Mahama and the NDC intend to do with the education sector. Let me assure the Honorable former Minister that I conceive of education not just as a matter of human rights, but a powerful and key driver of development and one of the strongest instruments that can be used to reduce poverty, improve health, and ensure gender inequality. President John Dramani Mahama intends to increase investment in the education sector to respond to the infrastructure deficits of the education sector, beginning from preschool through basic primary education to free secondary school and to the tertiary level. Enormous financial investment will be made to continue with major initiative that was done. Chair, fortunately for me, this is a sector which has the best of expertise. I intend to rely on their varied experiences and expertise to guide me in the formulation of policy, the improvement of policy. But Mr. Speaker, let me assure this committee that President John Dramani Mahama has no option to cancel free senior high school. Therefore, those who listen to him, even in the course of his campaign, to have stated that he will expand free senior high school to private schools was to tell Ghanaians that as President of the Republic, he wants to give true meaning to Article 25 of the 1992 Constitution and Article 38, which spells out the objectives of our educational policy. But Chair, the important thing is that he will subject the free senior high school to a review. The review will mean subjecting it to, one, there will be a stakeholder national education forum to discuss the future and state of education in Ghana, with emphasis on the future of the free senior high school, in particular how to assure it of adequate, reliable, sustainable financing. Mr. Speaker, I do not want to, at this moment, stir a controversy, but some of the numbers, Mr. Minister, as you may recall, I will validate some of the statistics to some statistical validation of those issues. So we will undertake a stakeholder forum which will involve donors and partners, involve academia, parents and students to review the free senior high school program. I should acknowledge, as Pearl have noted, that it remains one of the boldest steps in wanting to transform education. It was a matter of debate between free universal education absorbing all the costs and progressively free, starting with infrastructure. But President Mahama intends to undertake a comprehensive review of it to make it sustainable. Thank you.
You have a further question?
Yes, of course. Sir.
Yes.
Yeah,
let me indicate that we have two members, leadership of the subject matter committee, but the two of them will not ask question. One will pose all the questions. Go ahead with your question.
Honorable Chair, I'm grateful for the response from the nominee. Honorable Chair, beyond secondary education, which normally is the upper secondary, because by our statutes, we don't look at junior high as part of secondary. Beyond secondary education, I know there are a number of manifesto commitments in the field of tertiary, which is guaranteeing the promise of fee-free level 100. If the nominee can shed some light on it, so that we'll be able to know what's going to happen in that area.
Thank you very much, Chair and members, and thank you, Honorable Minister. President Mahama and the NDC promised free tuition for students from level 100 who would undertake normal programs in the various public universities of our country, including what he has said expanded to private tertiary institutions. They number a population for which the country will require about 345 million Ghana cedis. Of the will be required to do. We intend to provide that money to the affected universities, at least one to make refund to all those who have already paid those fees. But Chairman, the beauty of this is that it's open. Even parents who are still willing to pay can do so under this principle that has been introduced by the NDC. So we intend to mobilize with the Ministry of Finance some additional financing to cater for the population of students. It will be in the region of 125,000 as I look at it. And we'll provide 375 million Ghana cedis to support that. So every student who has paid will have a refund of his money. And the President intends to expand this over the years. Thank you.
Please proceed.
Honorable Chair, one of the areas that I will always be proud of as a former Minister for Education is the area of science, technology, engineering, mathematics education. Great progress has been made. Yes. And as measured...
Please address the chair.
Chair, great progress has been made. It has been validated. It has been validated around the world. STEM education in Ghana. I want to ask the nominee what plan his soon-to-be ministry is going to do about STEM education.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, members. Thank you, Honorable. The significant thing for the NDC and President Mahama, as far as education is concerned, is for us to contribute meaningful to our national sustainable development efforts. At the tertiary level, emphasis will be on access, quality, and relevance. At the secondary level, emphasis will be on foundational learning in order that we can produce critical thinkers for the future. There will be a review of pedagogy and curriculum at all levels of education to meet the country's aspirations into the future and for meaningful contribution to our national development effort. I should note the effort you have done in getting STEM. We intend to build, at least in every region of Ghana, a model STEM school, which will carry from kindergarten to senior high school to produce men for the future of work. We appreciate that going into the future, we need to train more people in science, information and communication technology, and engineering. In that respect, our universities will be expected to relate more to industry without compromising their core academic objective training models. Thank you, Chair.
Any?
Please. Honorable Chair, this House have had opportunity to approve GETFund formula. We have all lamented about capping and debate about uncapping. I want to know the opinion of the nominee coming up, what he intends to advocate for and push for in order to meet these aspirations of this House, which has been around for a long time. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you very much, Chair, and thank you for the question. And for me, also nostalgic. Those days in 1997, I was one of the strong advocates with many of our colleagues around here to advocate for the establishment of the GETFund. Before then, tertiary education was largely public funded. Tuition remained free. There was no access even to private tertiary institutions. The Ghana Education Trust Fund has done its part. In the last few years, it has suffered because of the decision of then Minister of Finance to cap it. President Mahama and the Minister of Finance have gone public, and I join them in saying that we will uncap the GETFund to free additional resources to support robust infrastructure development. Indeed, mathematically, cap GETFund today is about $3.2 billion Ghana cedis, 3.2 billion Ghana cedis. Uncap it will make available to education some 7.9 billion, which will accelerate expanded infrastructure. For instance, there are about 2,800 schools that needs to be fixed to deal with the problems of overcrowding. There are about 26,000 schools which has no changing facility for young girls for purposes of hygiene. There are about 780 schools that is required to expand access to junior high school. We will uncap GETFund. I would engage the Minister for Finance to do this as a matter of expediency, and for the President to engage with the IMF to review the memorandum which included the GETFund in the negotiations. President Mahama have said that he will review the IMF. So part of the review will be to uncap the GETFund and free those additional resources to support the country to rely on GETFund resources to finance education generally, in particular higher education.
Honorable Chair, in this great country, Ghana, the middle class has been squeezed for many years. Teachers, nurses have been squeezed, given the fact that majority of them have to find money to send their children to private school in our public schools. That at least in Greater Accra, you can see Accra STEM Academy.
Please, order, order. Honorable Yusuf, I do not want to mention your name again.
Again. So the public school transformation agenda is something that is very dear to the middle class. Honorable Chair, I want to ask my soon-to-be Minister for Education, what are his ideas and opinions about making sure that children, all children, have quality public schools to attend, and that if a parent doesn't have the resources, they will not go and look for a loan to send their children to private schools. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Chairman, our intervention in the education sector will be all-encompassing. We will give true meaning to the pursuit of free, compulsory, universal basic education. In my reading in the last few days, I have come to appreciate a major dichotomy which needs our urgent critical attention. rural-urban dichotomy in the quality of education, northern-south dichotomy in the quality of education, and more deprived schools not producing because of quality of teachers and the presence of teachers in those areas. I intend, even when we assume office, to engage the Honorable Minister for Local Government as part of the financial realignment to get him to accept that teacher accommodation can be done by realigning common fund into building those for teachers in the rural areas. I do know that conditions of service generally for workers in the Ghanaian public sector is not the best. I had the privilege in the last few years to be Ghana's Minister for Employment. I did my utmost best to deal with some of the most incipient labor disputes of the country. But nonetheless, the cascading effect of what you do for the teacher, its economic and financial implications for the nurse, the pharmacist, the doctor, is what guides the purse. Therefore, what is in the kitty? We need to improve revenue mobilization generally. And in education, it will be appreciated if, and Parliament members are here, if we can dedicate 20% of national expenditure into education, or allocate at least a minimum of 5 to 6% of GDP to support education, then over a 10-year period, we would have done enough to expand and make these facilities available. At the basic level, and this was my concern, you haven't achieved free compulsory universal basic education, and you have up there a free senior high school education. You will still have in urban areas, Honorable former Minister and Chairman, in the urban areas, the out of school dropout, you see them. In the rural areas, you don't. That's the danger. We also have to be careful that we are not producing unemployed graduates from free senior high school who would become a threat to an unemployable. So that is why Minister hails some of the TVET initiative, because we have to improve employability. And employability is better done through technical vocational training. We will expand access to all TVET institutions. I'm aware that some of your initiatives were 30, 20, 40%, because you didn't have money because you capped GETFund. You remember, I don't want the minority leader to look into my eye. So the uncapping didn't free resources for you to be able to expand those TVET institutions. President Mahama and the NDC will complete all those TVET institutions, given respect to the directive principles of state policy, that as president, he has a responsibility to the state to continue every good initiative of the previous government. I thank you.
You have further question? Please go ahead. And I plead that that should be the last question.
The last one. Honorable Chair, I think there has been interesting debate about the issue of E-blocks. And E-blocks, we completed a number of them across the country. But the good news is that government is a continuum. And that is why, beyond completing E-blocks, we added boarding facilities to those that are in remote locations. Adansia Peja is an example. Edujama is an example. Drobonso is an example where we added boarding facilities so that the facilities will become useful to the people of Ghana. It's not about us, it's about the children. So I think beyond completing E-blocks that have not been completed, Honorable nominee, Honorable Chair, would the Honorable nominee look into the possibility of adding boarding facilities if an E-block is in a distant location and students cannot walk to the school, so they become more useful to the country? Thank you.
Chair, the government will have no difficulty at all accepting to work to add boarding facilities where it's necessary. My own personal experience during the campaign was a day I was driving from Yendi towards Miang, and you see a major E facility on the Miang Road. I saw school girls and boys walking the street from Yendi Kulkwin walking towards that area. That reminded me that if there's any opportunity to add a boarding facility to that, we should do that. And then also in Cherpune and also in Wulesi on the same road, I saw a facility where many of the catchment communities needed that. We would have no difficulty expanding boarding facilities where necessary. Ours is to expand access, ensure relevance and quality delivery by improving the conditions of service of teachers to the best that the economy can do, and to improve their quality through motivation. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Chair, thank you. Honorable Yusuf, you may have the floor.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chairman. And first of all, let me congratulate my senior brother, Honorable Iddrisu Haruna, for this nomination. And also just to put it on the record that we are very proud of you, especially with the young politicians from the North. And you serve as inspiration to us from your days as the student leader all the way to your parliamentary responsibility, from being a Minister of Communication, Minister of Employment, and now Trade, and also this thing. My question to you, Honorable Nominee, one of the biggest challenges in our educational sector is the high drop rate of at the basic level. And according to the African Education Watch, in the northern region, only 5 out of 10 students who enroll in KG are able to complete primary school. And after that, only 3 are able to complete JSS. Being the first Minister for Education from the northern sector of our country, in the Fourth Republic, what will you do to ensure that we address this issue that the Ghana Education Watch have just identified? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chairman and members. And colleague, thanks for those warm compliments. It's important again to recognize that as a country, there is the northern-south divide when it comes to access to education, beginning from 1876, when the first school was established. And subsequently in the north, we got ours around 1951. So you can imagine the gap and the deficit. Even Achimota School around 1924, at the time that Tamale Secondary School, which became the first in the north. We will work to close that gap. Indeed, even for the implementation of the free senior high school, it is noted that participation rate is very high in northern Ghana. That explains that probably it is true that poverty was a problem to accessing quality education. So it's quality, equality, and equity. I also note that there's about 5,000 infrastructure deficit when it comes to provision of junior high school, basic schools, and secondary schools in northern Ghana, and also in Oti and western north. The statistics is not too encouraging for them. The urban concept, many in this area have taken full advantage of it. With the rare privilege of the President entrusting me as his Minister for Education, I will work towards equity and improve quality to education at all levels of our country. I would endeavor to close that gap, recognizing that I may have to do some affirmative action interventions to get it going, to correct some of the historical imbalances that are responsible for the deficit. I thank you.
Thank you very much. It's now the turn of Honorable Roxanne Nelson.
Leader, you are welcome.
Thank you, Honorable.
Yet you are moving to your fourth ministry, from communications to trade to labor and employment, or employment and labor, and now education. I'm sure something bigger will follow this. You are welcome. Let me say that the dexterity with which you answer your questions, oscillating between different subject areas, even though they are education, tells me that you flourish in this portfolio too. You will do well. And let me also commend you that I'm part of the people you mentored. I remember very well the day you asked Agbodza to mentor me because I have potential. And we are your products. You know your products. We are about 7. Sweeney is here. So we want to commend you for this. I want to wish you well. And we know that the reform that the sector cries for, you bring to bear in areas that require it. The free SHS bill that was never done, I'm sure it will be one of your priorities so that it could be passed to ground this good policy. We wish you well. Approved. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much,
Honorable, for those warm words.
I will take a comment from the Chief Whip, Honorable Anodombre.
Honorable Leader, may I have your attention? Let me join colleagues to commend you highly for your nomination. Not to depart essentially from what my good friend Agbodza said. We've known you way back. We all know, I personally know what you have where I am today. I recall our days at the Nooks. I can only urge you and encourage you. I don't have a question for you. Your competence cannot be lost on somebody like me, and those of us in the minority especially. We know what you are and what you are capable of doing. I only want to caution that just be careful as you move forward. We are praying for you. Please be careful. Expectations out there are very high. And those of us in the minority, we love you. We love you. We want to see you succeed. We want to see the Honorable Haruna succeed. I am only cautioning, Honorable Leader, I'm only cautioning, just tread with caution and just be cautious. We are with you and we wish you well. Honorable Chairman, thank you.
Caution noted.
Thank you very much. I will now move to Deputy Majority Leader, whether he has a question or a comment.
Honorable Haruna Iddrisu.
Thank you,
Indeed, and the right for the courtesies we are seeing this morning because of your long years of dedicated service to our country. And there's no doubt in my mind that you are going to be a very successful education minister. I have personally worked with you and received a lot of support as energy minister. I've sat with you, and so there's no doubt in my mind that you are going to be very successful. But the sector you are entering has a lot of challenges, and one of them has to do with industrial unrest, especially strikes by various professional groups in the educational sector. I know you've been a labor minister, and these are challenges that will stare you in your face as a minister. What are some of the strategies that you'll be adopting to address some of these challenges?
Chair, thank you very much. As I have said, it is a sector which is also advantageously has the best human resource of our country, from the professors, doctors. We will work with them. Industrial disputes are inevitable. And for a developing country like ours, you naturally should anticipate some labor unrest, some conflict between labor and government on matters which borders on their conditions of service. For the universities, the statutes of the university provide how council negotiate. There were contentious issues about book and research allowance, but more importantly, it's always a question of government timeously responding to agreements that have been made with trade unions and organized labor. If you say that you want to revise allowances, it takes effect from 1st June. For many of them, they expect that by 1st July, that is ready, at least to complement what they call their meager or inadequate salary. So the finance minister can, at many instances, I've had that experience with the Honorable Seth Tekpe then when he was Minister for Finance. And Chair, if you permitted me, I'll just share this example. There was an instance where judicial service workers embarked on strike action. At the time, Theodora Georgina Wood was the Chief Justice of the Republic. And in a meeting that President Mahama requested Julius Debra, Chief of Staff, together with myself and others to engage, I had to ask the Honorable Seth Tekpe that, does he appreciate what it means when judicial service workers are on strike? If somebody was entitled to a bill, and I'm sure Honorable Minority Leader should be interested in this, if the courts don't sit, you'll be putting the person into a human rights crisis. At the time, Justice Theodora Wood related to me that, look, in our IGF, there's about 38 million. We cannot touch it because the Ministry of Finance have not granted us permission to use IGF. It was when my attention was drawn even to a major constitutional deficiency, and I'm happy to bring it to your attention. At the time, judicial service workers, even up till now, unlike Parliament, you have your CI 118. This country have not treated the judicial organ of state with that. They don't have that. I think Article 1582 of the Constitution should deal with that particular matter. They are entitled to it. It was then I got the advice then from the Chief Justice that, look, let's engage the Minister of Finance, let him allow you 30–40% to use the IGF so that sometimes when these fires erupt, you can deal with it at your own level. So I want to believe that I do not anticipate. I know that SITAC is unhappy. I know many teachers' unions are waiting for President Mahama to assume office, and they will say our outstanding allowances have not been paid. We will deal with it per what is available in the national kitty. We will do our best to keep the industrial peace of the country and keep the peace within the education sector and many other sectors of the economy for the good of our country. Thank you.
Honorable Haruna, you are going to a ministry and the challenges are many. You are already aware of them, and I think a lot has been talked about. And these are no questions I expect you to answer. The challenges with the arrears of school feeding program, the challenges with gender. Well, they will have to collaborate with the Ministry of Education. Okay, well, let the nominee answer. The challenges with taking out schools on the tree and so many others that are address. So I wish you all the best and congratulations.
Thank you, Leader.
Thank you very much. We proceed to take a comment from Deputy Minority Leader.
Right, thank you very much, Chairman. It will be most unfortunate if I don't add my voice to the many blessings that are going the way of my beloved son, in whom I'm well pleased. So I just didn't want to keep quiet, but to bless him. I know your competencies, and I know when people were questioning why education, I knew what you could do. So I bless you. In the name of the...
Thank you, Chair.
Amen.
I hope I have the permission to call Emma Pat. Thank you, thank you.
Minority Leader and the ranking member of the committee.
Chairman, thank you very much. Leader, this room is filled to its full capacity. It tells all of us how popular you are with ordinary people. I can see behind you a lot of people. Now, I want us to do a little exercise. On your CV, you have on page 1 of 3, you have for residential address, 2 Shippy Close, Fedeos, Cantonment, Accra. If you'll be pleased, the cantonment is where you live, correct?
Yes. I live, when you are entering the house, you see the fiddles written by the wall.
Very well, nominee, I understand. I know cantonment very well. You live at cantonment?
Yeah, I do. I used to be in Bubuashi.
Honorable nominee, you provide the specific answers to the very questions I ask. You know, you being my respected senior, members want us to finish you quickly. And if you open yourself up, then maybe there will be more follow-ups. So you live at cantonment?
Yes.
Very well. Now, this residential facility, this property, is it a rented property or it is your house?
It is my house.
You are very honest. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Honorable Iddrisu. The reason why we, the young ones, respect you is such courage to face the truth that will take you higher, as prophesied by Roxanne. So it is no offense for a politician to own a property at cantonment, correct?
Not at all, depending upon your...
Order, order. Chairman with respect, Chairman with respect, Chairman with respect. You've had calls to caution the friends of this committee from the majority side. Please let us observe some decorum, respectfully. Honorable Haruna Iddrisu, saying, in Krahim Fana Wote,
Meti cantonments, baby.
Chairman,
Mr. Chairman, that's not allowed by our rules. Mr. Chairman,
because
Mr. Chairman,
I tried the tree with you because on your CV, on his CV, We will. I will. We are not done. Chairman, these your friends. Chairman, thank you. Honorable Iddrisu, Papacho, why a MP in Fiesane?
I bet it's 20 years in there.
So those are you've passed. Because Honorable nominee, you say on your CV that you speak English, Dagbani, Hausa, and Twi.
That's true.
I am thus far impressed with your Twi. I'm sure that there is a Southern inspiration.
That's Parliament House. Parliament House. My wife, Mary, Safwa Yeboah.
Oh, very well.
Sometimes when I'm coming out, I don't know about church, I say, Chino, Messia, Namin Bomodin, Namin Kanaye.
Chair, you have disclosed that Madam has inspired you with a tree. That's great. So, Chair, I want to know from the nominee whether or not he benefited from free education.
I did, coming from Northern Ghana at the time. I attended Kulukul School through Bagabaga JSS, through exams. I think that I didn't do well in mathematics for that particular sitting. And Tamasco at that time was insisting on a particular grade. And Navasco was open. If you had evidence that you were about rewriting, you could come and justify. So I went to Navrungu Secondary School for the A-level. And I'm proud to say that 1991, I probably was one of the best A-level students Navasco produced. I still hold one of the best grades ever in business management from Navasco. That record has not been broken. And so yes, this was what motivated. But traveling to Navrungu was a difficult one. 7 hours from Tamale to Navrungu. And then you are carrying your gari in a chop box. You are not sure of the metro mass. We have survived and we have come a long way. Thank you, Chair.
So, Honorable nominee, I can understand why you had to go through a law program with those inspirations you've studied, philosophy, sociology, and all. And then from there you had to do law. Now, I note from page 3 of 3 on your CV, respectfully, your membership of the Ghana Bar, 2002 to date. As you may be well aware, as a lawyer, your membership to the bar, or with the bar, at the bar, originates from your being a member of a law firm or a department of an agency so recognized, by the states. Now let me explain, because my respected colleague is trying to draw my attention, though not on record. When you are called to the bar, you are a lawyer. You've been called to the bar after pupillage, yes. But your annual subscription, you cannot, unless something has changed that I don't know, you are able to pay for your subscription if you can relate to a law firm or a department, a legal department of an institution. So please, that is not indicated. Which law firm do you?
Chairman, thank you very much. At the time I finished University of Ghana, even though a student activist, I had a strong bond with Speaker Alban Bagbin, and therefore he recommended me for Law Trust. I've since been, one of our partners is here, James Mensah Kule, who is my law school mate, and minority leader, the chairman of this committee. I graduated from law school with him the same day, Bernard Ahiafo, with Honorable Amwakwata and Professor Abuchi and Ben Sabers and others. So I am tied to Law Trust, and I'm a lawyer in good standing. I've paid all my subscription. Indeed, subject to Parliament, two additional things. Football, and I'm into law. I appeared before the event to justification to hold office of
nominee, enough. Nominee, the almighty free SHS that you're looking forward to reform, review, is in order. I mean, obviously, coming from where we started, from where people even thought it is not possible. I am happy that as a nation, we appreciate the fact that we've done so well in educational reforms. The respected Dr. Yaweduchum for the effort. I commend Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempe, who is nowhere, to review and look at the areas that were not too successful so that you make it better. That said, may I tease your mind on this? There is this talk that even in mighty America, free education does not include boarding. In advanced democracies where emphasis is on free education, boarding is not part. And at Ghana, we have punched above our weight by introducing free boarding. Your honest view, do you think that we must continue to have free boarding?
Even expand it. Kandiga is not America. Wulugu is not America. I'm sure one of the communities in the Winneba area is not America. They have access. The transport systems are networked and effective. It is not so for Ghana. For many children, I'm sure members of parliament even have to buy bicycles to support them to be able to commit to school daily. It means that for some to access this good quality education, they need to do more. So increased boarding facilities for deprived rural areas is important. Review, as announced by President Mahama, is not cancellation. Thank you.
Honorable Chair, if the nominee will be pleased, I should proceed to have a discussion with him on the tertiary education we have in Ghana. His party in opposition promised free university for year one. And in all fairness to your government, you were very specific that you pay for year one. First semester of the academic calendar for the universities have since commenced. May I know from you whether your government intends to implement this policy in your first budget to take care of semester one? don't know.
On the authority of President Mahama, I'm sure his Minister of Finance, if this House approved the Honorable Atuforson, will present the reset budget of the government. It will include some provision of some 345 million cedis to cater for admission fees for students undertaking courses in the normal subject areas, not professional areas like medicine. And for President Mahama, this is a model experiment. You will look at it. How do we fare as a country? If it is possible for expansion, then he will expand it. And he's not asked that if you are able, you should not. We know that some students have already paid their admission fees. It will be refunded to them, Honorable Leader.
Honorable Chair, we are engaged in a public discourse. If the nominee will be pleased, may he bring clarity to this matter. In your manifesto launch, which took place in Efutu, Winneba, Efutu. By the way, Winneba is the capital of Efutu. And you entered Winneba with all the glory and assurances to the nation. You did not say admission fee. The statement was free universities. I'm quoting President Mahama's words. Free first year tuition fees. First year, we have semester 1 and semester 2. It is the NDC manifesto did not promise admission fee for first year. It did not promise admission. So I just, with the greatest respect, at the risk of sounding immodest, pray you to bring clarity to what exactly you intend doing for the first year university student.
Thank you very much, Leader. Fortunately, I was a member of the manifesto committee, so I still recall even when we had to discuss this subject, we asked Professor Odro and a team to go out and work out the numbers for us to discuss with the president before we went public. Leader, for your purposes, tuition is free in all public universities in Ghana. Therefore, we're referring to admission fees. Thank you.
Honorable nominee, the jury is out there, so some of the issues we are unable to resolve, we'll leave it for the jury to determine. There's no problem. We have to move on. Now, let me also, for the benefit of clarity, if you say all universities, does that also mean all tertiary institutions?
Leader, if you note, that's why, for instance, expanding free senior high school, the president said public, because the double track system has to be addressed. So we have to look into private senior high school. What capacity do they have? Maybe 150,000, and you have a number of 300,000 young people who ought to be in school. Today, as we speak, year 3 and 1 are in school, 2 is home. Or year 3 and 1 are in school, 2 is home.
Honorable nominee, respectfully, I'm not cutting you. I think the mainstay of my question was in respect of the tertiary. You know, we have nursing colleges. We have colleges for animal husbandry or veterinary. You know, we
use the word universities for that purpose.
Yes. So that is why other friends of committee, there is an important discussion. Now, so do I take it from the clarity you provided that College of Nursing, colleges of education, colleges of agriculture, and other colleges of tertiary in stature are not part of this first year free tuition policy of the NDC government?
I'm not able to use tertiary and university interchangeable here for this purpose. I had admission fee for first year university students. Thank you.
Chair, again, on this very subject matter, I appreciate the sincerity of the nominee, and again, the jury is out there to make their determination on this important matter. However, Honorable nominee, don't you think that having regard to the expectation of the Ghanaian youth in respect of this free first year tuition, they would find the policy discriminatory if you are only giving this benefit to university students? You have earlier referred to some constitutional provisions, Article 25 and 38 and all. Don't you think that the Ghanaian youth out there who is attending a college of education, who is attending a college of agriculture, who is attending a college of nursing, will feel discriminated against since he or she is also having a tertiary education?
For President Mahama, if it was possible to grant free education to every Ghanaian, he just would have done that. It depends upon the size of the economy and what our economy vis-a-vis demands from other sectors of the economy can do. Thank you.
Babaru.
Tutubra.
Very well. So
you have to tell members that you are the only person who knows my two known names in the university.
On the TVET, you know, the enrollment levels were very low until it was also made free. Can you share with us your plans in ensuring that you sustain, one, and two, to encourage as many talented Ghanaians to walk that path in acquiring skills, rather than insisting on going into the mainstream senior high school?
Thank you very much. The relationship between industry, employability, hinges on the quality and training of young people with employable skills, which are largely technical, vocational. I'm aware that the Honorable Iddrisu and his colleagues tried a number of TVET institutions. In my review of the handing over notes, the infrastructure, he just started when government had to go through the debt crisis, and therefore there was no funding to complete many of them. Be assured that we will complete all of them to support President Mahama's agenda to get more young people employable by way of those skills. Now, the problem with many of the TVET institutions was retooling and equipment. It's not just about building the infrastructure. If you said carpenters, have you provided for their training? If you said masons, have you provided for their training? So we'll look into it and ensure that at least every region has a model of the TVET institution that is dedicated to them, because we also must deal with a problem that you don't get 300,000, 400,000 SSS students who don't know their fate beyond completion of senior high school. Then you'll be producing a cohort of unemployment graduates for that category of young people. So we would invest in TVET. Technical and vocational education is important, and requisite financing will be provided for them. But as I said, I look forward to decapping GETFund and dedicating many of it to get robust infrastructure done.
Chair, if he will be pleased, I would want to draw his attention to His Excellency the President. On his campaign trail, I believe he identified some challenges in the school feeding program. And at one point, he did indicate that instead of government having to procure for the schools, he will rather come up with a policy to let the head teachers themselves procure the items, the food items, directly. In other words, he will transfer the funds to the schools so that the schools themselves would procure the food items for the students. May I know from you, Honorable Nominee, if indeed, beyond the campaign rhetoric, this is also part of the policies that you are going to introduce as a way of ensuring, in your own way, efficiency in the free SHS system in terms of the aspect that deals with school feeding.
First of all, to note that in our manifesto, the words that were used was to implement no academic fee policy for first-year students in all public tertiary institutions, including universities, colleges of education, and nursing training colleges, for the record, leader. So this is our pledge.
I know why I was pushing you, but I'm happy, you know.
I appreciate it.
I know why I was pushing you, because your manifesto is here. So I wanted to be sure. And so I'm happy you've gone back to clarify, to give assurance.
Thank you.
Yes, I must. If opposition leader cannot have access to your manifesto, then what is my use? I must have it.
Thank you, leader. And Chair, school feeding.
I mean, school feeding in this context is referring to the senior high school, not the basic school feeding.
Yes, school feeding for senior high school was largely done in a centralized form by the previous government, taking advantage of two institutions, the Buffer Stock Company and the Ghana Commodity Exchange. And it allowed for central pitches in some quantities of these food items. Headmasters already played some role when it came to perishable items, uniforms, and others. We have to phase out implementation because we cannot afford any food shortages as the schools run. 3rd January, we have to provide for stability of their calendar and make sure that there's adequate food and the quality of the food. But certainly the GES and headmasters will have a role. It's more, Chair, a cash flow problem, and how early the Ministry of Finance releases those funds. If we are not careful, there will come a time that you would have done purchases, and major suppliers will say that they won't do it because they've not been guaranteed or assured. So we have to deal with the cash flow problem, which is a matter which can be resolved between the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Education. But for us, is to assure that we stop any potential disruption of the school calendar arising out of the lack of or delay in getting these food items to the school. We will work with those institutions, but define a role for the headmasters in a phased-out process. Thank you.
Senior, please, employment. My constituency produces the highest number of diploma and B.Ed graduates, Bachelor in Education. As you may know, UEW was established as a specialized tertiary facility to train teachers and feed that market. On a daily basis, they come to me. This morning, I received a message, which message is to ask you what plans you have to get as many of them who have graduated and are still unemployed into getting the employment with GS?
GS, it will be a function of availability of funds and a matter of vacancies arising, the location of those vacancies, who is willing to go, and then the Minister of Finance granting clearance to the Minister for Education to recruit such number of teachers as may be desirable for the running of our educational system. As and when we get the clearance, we would honor those numbers. Thank you.
Senior, again, may I know from you about this licensure examination policy of the MPP? Are you going to maintain it? Chairman, the friends of this committee, from the majority side, must know how we operate. They should stop it. Will you maintain it, or you will abolish it?
We will have a systematic review of it to abolish it. We are going to review the curricula of the colleges of education and the faculty of education of the universities. They will incorporate it as part of the exam that students will write, and when they pass it, they are on. Thank you.
Now, let's come to this very nagging national issue, the LGBT issue. Now, His Excellency President Mahama, recently in his engagement with the religious bodies, specifically the Catholic bishops, indicated that the law that stops, prevents, alienates, and prevents this issue of sexual rights, same-sex relationship, does not necessarily need to be enacted, and that perhaps the country can explore the possibility of introducing our value system into the curriculum, so that the children can, at that elementary stage, have certain understanding of the Ghanaian value system. May I ask you, Honorable Leader, your own views about the option to introduce a value system to systematically give a certain direction to our children instead of enacting a law?
Leader and Chair, I do not want to reduce this matter to a religious debate. It's a cultural wrong. With my religion as a Muslim, you know where I stand on this matter. It is repugnant to my Muslim values and ethics. I do not want to believe that many a Ghanaian parent would want their children trained in a way which is not consistent with the way me and you were brought up as Ghanaians, either from Efutu or from Wayamba in Tamale. Therefore, stating that we are a country and we define our values, both social and cultural, we should expect all other persons to respect those values. Thank you.
Chairman, I think I would put the question this way. You see, and I agree with Mr. President when he states that the curriculum, our teaching materials in our schools do not sufficiently inculcate our value systems in our children. I agree with him based on what the current status of our curriculum. I want to know from you that said, would you embrace any policy from His Excellency the President, which policy will proactively seek to opt for a value system-based approach to sexual rights rather than the law?
Thank you very much. I would engage the President on the matter. The President does know my position on this subject, and it remains unchanged. But I do not think that any Ghanaian parent wants teachers to take their child to school and teach them that a man can relate to a man and a woman can relate to a man, but within the context of rights guaranteed. We are a country. We have our own values. We have a duty to preserve those values within the ambit of the Constitution. And leader, Kwame, it is not for nothing that in the Constitution, you always get words like subject to public morality. Whose morality? Ghana's defined morality. Thank you.
So, therefore, is it your suggestion to the country that you will embrace a very proactive value system rather than
Ghanaian
let me
value
finish.
system.
Yes, that's the point. The reference point is a Ghanaian value system, none other. So my point is that would you assure the Ghanaian public that you, on the basis of Mr. President's vision on this matter, on Mr. President's position on this matter, will opt for a Ghanaian value system to be introduced right from the KG, primary, all the way up, rather than a strict law in this matter?
Thank you very much. It's noted. Growing up, even with you, if you went to school, you know where young ladies could go, and you know where boys could go. That is Ghanaian value system. We'll preserve that. Thank you.
Very well. You being a senior at the bar, you're able to run away from very serious cross-examination, and you couldn't have done less. That's okay. We'll let the jury determine this matter. We'll go for a broader debate on this matter. Senior, your colleagues in Parliament have this to say about you, quote, you are visionary, strategic, collaborative, a team player, and that you have a foresight, and you also demonstrate pragmatic approach in solving problems. Your colleagues know you as such. What is there for you to share with the Ghanaian youth who wants to know who Haruna Iddrisu is?
To the Ghanaian youth, I come from a very, very humble beginning. I just buried my late mother, my uncle, who told me that I should hasten cautiously and that I should not be in competition with any person. I should have faith in myself. I should be strong to defend my convictions as to things that I think that are right, and that I should always believe that if I do right, posterity will vindicate me with time. So for young people, it's important that we all grow with integrity and discipline, and we shouldn't be too competitive. Today is Honorable Afenyo Makin, majority leader yesterday, minority leader today. Thank you.
Colleagues, Mr. Chairman, I'm compelled to make a disclosure, and it's because Honorable Iddrisu is serving as an inspiration to the many youth out there. It's not only they, including me. I recall when our party won in 2016, and in 2017, I didn't get selection. He was one person who told me that come what may, I will be a leader, and I have become a leader. So, leader, I didn't know what you saw, but I just want to say that we appreciate you. Now, let me ask you, what is your, leader, don't look at your time. This exercise is good for democracy, and I know as a lawyer you enjoy debate. This is a very healthy engagement. Chair, what is your relationship, your working relationship with Honorable Dr. Clement Apak, who is a respected member of the academia and found his way into Parliament?
Solid. In fact, leader, the Honorable Clement Apak, I shared a true stance with him. We're in Commonwealth Hall together. I should remember that.
Honorable Apak, you are supposed to be calm when there's an advert in your favor. You are not supposed to. You're not supposed to be touting your own whatever. If you can do your own work, do it.
We're in Commonwealth Hall together, and I still remember those days with him and Chief Magas when they wanted me to be the chief vandal. It is when I told Commonwealth Hall that I was keeping my eye on the SRC on Luke's presidency, depending upon what support.
You know the essential qualification to becoming a chief vandal. So you had all those essential qualifications.
Thanks to him.
Very well. Thus assured, I entertain no doubt that should Mr. President ask you certain relevant questions, he will receive a tank.
Leader, you are making a determination for the president.
Report.
Thank you.
No, get my question right. This is hypothetical. It's very hypothetical. I'm not part of your government. I'm a humble opposition leader. I'm asking you that should you be given the opportunity, should he be assured of receiving a tank of good reports from you?
Leader, the assurance of the president is weightier and better than mine in this matter.
Let me conclude by asking you this. We are politicians, and this is my last question to you. And again, I want the Ghanaian youth to listen to this and how you answer it. We go through low moments in our politics, days of adversity. You were a student leader, rose to become a cabinet minister. When your party was in opposition, you were privileged to have been selected as a primus of your inter-pares. And you became the primus of your side for some 6 years. Share with us, how did you find your transition?
Oh, transition from where to where?
That is when you had to give space for a younger person, to take over from you.
Oh, I took it very easy. When I was told that there would be a reshuffle of the minority, I believe I got a call whilst I was entering Joy FM for a major interview from President Mahama, and he indicated to me that, Harun, I'll call you shortly to discuss a very important matter. If you remember, I think it was PM Express. And for me, if you look at President Akufo-Addo's State of the Nation's address, the last one, I should be the most encouraged. At least he admitted that he suffered an effective opposition in the hands of Haruna Iddrisu and the likes of our MPs, even if he didn't say so tacitly. He said the nature and character of the parliament, the speakership, and his inability to get things through. I believe that in the last 7 years as minority leader, contributing to, you know how I got it under your slaves, getting Bagbin elected as speaker. For many in the NDC, those of you who were at Marriott Hotel, the Honorable Yusuf and Soyene, and nobody is here, I told them that a tortoise will ride an elephant at dawn. You remember that? Didn't the tortoise ride an elephant? We worked towards it and we achieved it. And you know, I had Honorable Muntaka. We had a certain gelling chemistry of a relationship. So as minority leader, getting Bagbin elected was significant for me to change the course of parliamentary accountability in our country. Research have demonstrated that the 8th Parliament will be remembered for its effectiveness in demanding accountability. There are many policy issues that I'll walk to you and Che Mensa, and I'm sure I can use the word today. There was a day they said, one ton, he's been bought. So I walked to you and said, then Che, na miya kubi na otomi. I told the Honorable Che Mensa that no, some decisions I'm guided by the good of our country and the future of our country. And that I take those decisions, taking responsibility. Indeed, I told the Honorable Suhine that when President Mahama begin constituting government, I'll be appreciated as former minority leader. Even the engineering you are doing here, people will appreciate a Haruna Iddrisu. There were some decisions that you are guided collectively by the party, and then we take a decision. But as I said, I have never, ever regretted being changed as minority leader. I don't carry guilt in my heart. I've had my opportunity. I went out there to campaign and work for the NDC because I was convinced that in terms of the management of the economy, I wasn't satisfied with how the MPP had managed the country and its governance. So I don't carry guilt in my heart. I had a rare opportunity to serve, probably the first in my part of the world, if not the first in my country. And those who know me, there is a Quranic verse that I share with my mother, Aman Rasul. God does not give you a burden you cannot carry. So I'm sure at that time, God wanted a certain burden off my head. Which burden was that? Don't be minority leader. Be MP for Tamale South. I keep telling my colleagues that my greatest asset is the preservation of Tamale South. And therefore, I thank the chiefs behind me and the people of Tamale South for giving me religious trust to keep the seat. So you can think minority leader was just an opportunity to serve. Those 7 years, my footprints are there and they remain there.
Chairman, that would end my questions. I shall conclude with some few remarks that would not be outside of this domain. Honorable nominee, thank you for inspiring so many people in the political class. Your story is telling. I would urge upon you to get your memoir done as quickly as possible. I know you have some more details you've shared with me. Please, let it be known so that the young ones will know that it's not easy to walk this road. But I think that as education minister, if you get a nod, the key person to work will be your finance minister. And I know the good relationship you have with Ato. If he's proving stubborn, call upon me. I will do him Ato for you. And then he will do the needful. But let me thank you one more time. The committee is here to take a decision on you, by the way. So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ranking Member. May I have the pleasure to announce the presence of a list of visitors here to give moral support to the Minister Designate for Education. Mary Safua Yeboah, a spouse of the Minister Designate. Baba Mamadou Bawa, Nantonna, Ibrahim Mohammed, Nyankpal Na. Please, I am going by the list that I have. So what is here is not Nyankpala, but it's Nyankpal Na. Four, we have Ibrahim Ziblim, Lamashi Lana. We have Andani Mohammed, Tugu Lana. We have Bukari Yakubu, Kasul Lana. We have Mahama Al-Hassan, Bamvum Bam Lana. We have Dr. Jacob Yakubu Mahama, Zingbalun Na. We have Fuseni Nyabawa, Tamale Dakpema. We have Iddrisu Mohammed, Sakab Na. We have Sintaro Mahama, Sakoya Na. We have Dr. Iddrisu Sulemana.
Hello.
Yeah, sure. Wait, don't call him yet. Don't call him.
Honourable members, the meeting is called to order. Honourable members, the clerk should take her position and administer the oath.
I do hereby administer the oath. Yes.
I, Eric Opoku,
Swear by the Almighty God
swear by the Almighty God
that the evidence I shall give before this committee
that the evidence I shall give before this committee
touching the matter in issue shall be the truth,
the whole truth,
and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, honorable members. In line with Standing Order 2172, we have in our midst Honorable Brian Achampong, Honorable Dr. Isaac Yao Opoku, Honorable Brian Achampong. I'm going by the list before me. Doctor has not been added. What I have is Honorable Brian Achampong. So if you want me to add Doctor, Honorable Dr. Brian Achampong. They are the subject matter committee leadership. We have Honorable Dr. Jasao Goffred and Honorable Kwame Gakpe as the leadership from the majority side. Agri. Very well.
Chair, sometimes, though not intended, how we approach it for the optics may give a different impression. I believe that our respected colleague is here with us and has been in Parliament, and we see his name and title in the vote and proceedings. So I would want to suggest strongly that in future, I'm not. Yes, I know, but yes, but maybe the approach. Yes, I'm saying that though it was not written in a way that reflects his title, but maybe next time you would have to indulge.
Well, let's make progress. I have a list where number 3 is addressed as doctor.
Oh,
number 6 is addressed as doctor. So I cannot afford to add. So let's proceed with that. Let us not do this preliminary argument.
Chairman, I will not argue with you, but sometimes, Chairman, sometimes it's not all the time that you must be asserting yourself to prove that you are the chair. It is, you are the chair. Nobody takes it away from you, but it's temporal.
Honourable members, I proceed to take a question from Honourable Dr. Brian Achampong.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chairman. Nominee, let me congratulate you for the nomination. Indeed, Honourable Chairman, the Constitution is clear on Article 78. Ministers of State shall be appointed by the President with the prior approval of Parliament from among members of Parliament or persons qualified to be elected as members of Parliament, except that the majority of the ministers. The nominee is a 5th-term member of Parliament and therefore qualifies. As the chairman, he's also been the ranking member for Food and Agriculture and Cocoa Affairs, and so he's very much knowledgeable.
No. Chairman, point of order. No, it's not my. The nominee has just arrived. The way incoming ranking, is overpraising him.
I just read the Constitution.
No, yes, now. Yeah.
The preamble before my question. What?
He's talking law.
Honourable ranking. Let's make progress. You have the floor.
Thank you. And policies. The nominee, by virtue of being a 5th-term member of Parliament, by the Constitution, qualifies for the position that he's been nominated for. But honourable nominee, notwithstanding your knowledge of agriculture, the NDC manifesto, the preamble of it says, and I quote, the agriculture is confronted with low production, food losses, limited markets, and poor access to credit. Now, notwithstanding the challenges enumerated in the manifesto, you are going to lead, if you are approved by Parliament, the Ministry of Food and Agriculture. As a leader, how do you intend to deal with the challenges so enumerated in the NDC manifesto? Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, thank you for the opportunity. And let me say good evening to my colleagues on the committee. Indeed, life is in a flux, and the dynamism of nature dictates that while some are going, some are coming. And where some are meeting, others are also parting. I recall not long ago, I was on this committee when the incoming ranking member who just posed a question to me sat where I'm sitting today. And I posed to him some innocuous questions, which he answered excellently. Today, it is my turn, and I want to assure him that I will deal with all the questions he intends to ask. On the issue of how to deal with the problems we have identified in our manifesto, if you had read further, the manifesto provides all the mechanisms we intend to put in place to address the challenges. We want to roll out a program called Feed Ghana. Under the Feed Ghana program, we want to drive this nation towards food sufficiency. And then we have also provided for another program called Feed the Industry. Under the Feed the Industry program, we want to establish a strong relationship between agriculture and industry, a symbiotic relationship in nature, so that as agriculture provides the raw materials, industry will be adding value. And in so doing, we generate a lot of jobs, increase productivity. I think one issue that I have to address has to do with lack of credit that you mentioned. Honorable colleague, you are aware, Mr. Chairman, you are aware that in 1965, the first president of the Republic of Ghana, Dr. Osagyefo Kwame Nkrumah, established what we now call the Agricultural Development Bank to provide credit facilities for the development and modernization of agriculture. Unfortunately, over the years, because our agriculture is rain-fed, the banks are unwilling to discharge this special mandate. And that is why our farmers are suffering from lack of credit. The NDC intends to roll out a program called Ghana Agriculture Insurance Scheme, GAIS. Under this program, we want to subsidize agricultural insurance so that farmers can have insurance on their farms. Once you have the insurance, the banks are ready to advance loans to you, knowing very well that whatever amount they give you, so long as it falls within the limits of the insurance, it can be paid. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, a follow-up. Honorable nominee, maybe the way I asked a question provided for very general answers. Because everything that I've seen in the NDC manifesto was in the Rawlings manifesto, was in the Kufuor manifesto. I'm talking about agriculture, feeding industry, access to credit, insurance, and all those things. From the Rawlings era, it was in their manifesto, President Kufuor's manifesto, Mills Mahama manifesto, a Kufuor manifesto. I see it in the Mahama manifesto. So it becomes a theory, and the problems persist every 4 years. But I was looking for more of how you intend, notwithstanding the manifesto, to deal with maybe one or two of it, to provide assurance, the Ghanaian people, that you are going to give a different type of leadership to address the situation. But I understand. It's a broad sector. Maybe I should have asked you the insurance or to industry. How do you intend to operationalize it? Maybe we would have gotten some more clarity on the matter. Yes, that is so my follow-up question to you is, Honorable nominee, on the issue of food losses, in your lens, how do you intend to deal with it, in your lens?
Mr. Chairman, it is indeed a serious problem confronting agriculture in this country. And we will want to introduce something new to reduce food losses. we've been talking about agribusiness. What we are saying is that we are going to encourage the private sector to put in place mini plants close to the farms, so that as soon as we harvest, they will buy the produce, process them. If it is cassava, for instance, you grind the cassava, put it in the rubber, you seal it, and then they sell to the big companies. If we are able to put these mini processing plants around the country, we will reduce food losses significantly in our country.
Mr. Chairman, my second question. Mr. Chairman, during the campaign...
Well, I take the first one, then it was followed by a comment, and this is your second question. Yes. Then you are moving. If you don't have a follow-up question on this, then you are moving to your third question.
I'm guided. Mr. Chairman, during the campaign, the honorable nominee mentioned that we are cheated cocoa farmers on the price of cocoa. The honorable, and that the price that we are offering, 3,100, was very low, that they will do better. He did not give us a price. Now, the finance minister nominee on the platform mentioned that we should be paying cocoa farmers 6,000 Ghana cedis, yet we're paid 3,100 Ghana cedis, and that we are insensitive to the plight of cocoa farmers. Mr. Chairman, after the elections, I was tempted and guided by those comments to increase the price of cocoa to 6,000 cedis, as recommended by Honorable Latoforsen and my senior on the platform. But I felt that it wasn't right to do so. I want to ask the nominee, when confirmed this month, can he assure cocoa farmers that by February or by Valentine's Day, he will increase the price of cocoa to 6,000 Ghana cedis, so that cocoa farmers who are producing the chocolate for Valentine's Day can get a benefit of it? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Nominee.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, it is a fact that I, Eric Opoku, made that constructive proposal to the government of Nana Akufo-Addo, government of Ghana, under the leadership of Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, to consider giving Ghanaian cocoa farmers a minimum of 6,000 Ghana cedis for the 2024-2025 cocoa season. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman, in determining the producer price of cocoa, you look at the FOB price, or the wet market price. Then you look at the exchange rate. For purposes of clarity, I want to walk you through how we determine producer price of cocoa in 2016, and then do the comparison, then conclude on the matter for everybody to understand.
Chairman, Chairman...
Honorable Leader.
Yes, with your leave.
Honorable Leader, with all due respect, let's allow the nominee to finish answering the question, and then the questioner will have the opportunity to ask a follow-up. If there is a follow-up, then I can come to your follow-up question. That's the ground rules that we have set. So, nominee, have you finished your answer? Very well. Finish your answer.
No, Chairman, with respect, if you would grant me leave. Chairman, we have granted some dispensation. Please bear with me. He's a colleague I respect so much, and he knows what Honorable Nominee, respectfully, in your very emphatic answer, did I get you right in your answer to the effect that you made a proposal? You made a proposal.
Yes, please.
That's it.
Very well. Proceed with your answer.
Mr. Chairman, I made a proposal because I did not have the power at the time to do so myself. And the only thing I could do was to put a proposal forward for government to consider. Now, back to the answer. In 2016, the FOB price was $2,950 per ton. The exchange rate was $1 to 3.90 cedis. And so when you multiply 3.90 to the 2,950, the cedi equivalent of the per ton value was 11,505 Ghana cedis. When you divide this by 16, you get the per bag value of 719 Ghana cedis. And so in 2016, every bag of cocoa sold from Ghana in the world market attracted 719 Ghana cedis. Out of this, the Mahama administration gave the Ghanaian cocoa farmer 475 Ghana cedis. 475 Ghana cedis, which constituted 66.06% and kept 244 Ghana cedis, which was just around 34%. Mr. Chairman, the 244 Ghana cedis the government kept, part of it was used to procure fertilizer free of charge to the cocoa farmers. Part of it was used to procure chemicals for the cocoa farmers.
Order, order. Please, let's listen to the nominee in silence. Order. Let's listen to the nominee in silence. Please proceed with your answer.
Mr. Chairman, I'm taking a cue from the sentiments of the appointment committee, and so I will be laconic and lucid, but the point must be stated. Now, what is the point? In 2016, the farmer was given 66%. And so, every one of us knows that the principle of Cocoa Board has been that the cocoa farmer must be given 70% of the price. Now, in 2024-2025, every one of us, it's a common knowledge that the world market price is spiking up on the back of global cocoa shortage. And so when you go to the world market, at the time they announced the price, the average price was $10,711. And the exchange rate at the time was $1 to 15.5. But I was charitable to even use 15. $1 to 15 cedis. So when you multiply, per every ton of cocoa, Ghana was earning the cedi equivalent of 160,665. You divide this by 16 to arrive at the per bag value of 10,042 Ghana cedis. Out of this, I said, if we are getting 10,042, how much of this can the government of Ghana give to the Ghanaian cocoa farmer? I calculated 70% of it, and it was above 7,000. But being mindful of the fact that this government has plunged the cocoa sector into the abyss of debt, I was charitable to use 60%. The 60% was the 6,000 that we put out as a proposal for consideration. But government decided to give the Ghanaian cocoa farmers 3,000 initially. That 3,000 constituted 30%.
Thank you very much. Any follow-up?
Yes. Honorable, I belong to a football club in Legon, and we say one thing when we meet each other. Yeah. My question is simple. Will you, based on the promises you made and the challenge you threw at the NPP government, and now that you are admitting that you were actually looking at the world market price, when you know that in 2024, the world market price will be used for prices in 2025, but you are in 2024 using the spot market price to calculate that, I take it. But I'm asking you, now that the cocoa price has moved from 10,000 to 11,000, it means that when you take office in the first week, you will be able to increase the cocoa price from your committed 6,000 now to about 7,000, which will represent 70% of the world market price. That is a simple question. The world market price of cocoa has moved from the 10,700 to 11,000. So all you are assuring cocoa farmers is that when you take over, it will not actually be 6,000, but it will be more than 6,000 that you will announce to cocoa farmers.
Mr. Chairman, I thought that my colleague will listen to the Honorable Minority Leader. I've been praying for God to help me resist the temptation to do something that the leader doesn't want me to do.
Mr. Chairman, I have had an extensive discussion with Honorable Samsonahi. Honorable Samsonahi, I've had some good discussion that there are matters of governance, matters of systems and policies, not NDC, not MPP. And there are matters for the Ghanaian public, and the market is likely to respond. So we decided to hold back our lunch to take you. The whole day we've not had lunch. We've not had a break to take any. So, Chairman, in Okunko, is it Okunko who said in Things Fall Apart that Okunko, yes, your smile must be brief. No, Okunko, is that not? Your smile must be brief. So your submissions must be brief.
As well.
Mr. Chairman, it is, no, he has asked a question. I must respond. I haven't answered the question. No, I haven't answered the question.
Obienim sawabe, Mr. Chaso. Chaso. Ah, yakasamati, Chaso.
So probably we may have to reduce the questions to Eric Opoku. Now, it's now the turn of Honorable Dr. Jasayo.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Honorable nominee, welcome and congratulations. I must say that in the last 4 years, I've worked with the Honorable nominee as his deputy ranking, and it's been wonderful working with him. He's a great leader. I wish you well. Honorable nominee, still on the cocoa subsector, there is this apprehension because the production of cocoa beans have reduced, and that in the last year, we made only 400, and indeed under 450,000 metric tons against an expected 850,000 metric tons, upon which we took the
Chairman, cocoa production for last year was not 430. It was 530, if you care.
Source?
Yes, Ghana Cocoa Board.
Okay. So, Mr. Chair, I flatly disagree with him, but for progress of this conversation, assuming that the 530,000 metric tons is anything to go by. It's not a statement of fact.
No, it's a notorious fact. Honorable Opoku knows. Please, don't let us say it was 400. Stop it. When we are dealing with verifiable facts, it's not 400.
Leader, let's make progress. And I'm saying, Honorable Chair.
Honorable Dr. Jasayo.
Yes.
Hold it. I believed if there are some errors in the question asked, as you indicated, that to quote you, Wabi. So he's capable of answering the question and doing the corrections alongside. So proceed with your question.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. You have nothing to worry about. Let's assume that the production for last year is 530,000 metric tons. Cocoa Board engages in forward sales of cocoa beans. At present, the reports from Cocoa Board inform us that there is a deficit of paying cocoa beans of about 350,000 metric tons to the buyers outside the country. As if you are confirmed as Minister responsible for agriculture, what steps do you think we can take to pay that debt before we start talking about cocoa beans for processing into chocolate for Valentine? Thank you.
Honorable nominee.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. Regarding the figures, I will say that both of them are right. Before the transition, the Select Committee on Agriculture, Food and Cocoa Affairs met with Ghana Cocoa Board at Koforidua, and they indicated to the committee that their total production for the year, for last year, was 429,000 tons. And that is why I'm saying that Honorable Dr. Josiah, referring to that figure, was or is right. Now, when you come to my colleague Opoku, just recently, during the transition engagements, Cocoa Board submitted some documents to us. I was privileged to be part of the transition engagements. In that document, they indicated that their production was 530. And so in this case, both of you are right. But whatever be the case, be it 430 or 530, production has declined. And this is the lowest in the last 2 decades. Then on the issue of the default, yes, Ghana went to the syndicated market and then took a loan of $800 million to purchase 850,000 tons of cocoa. At the end of the season, we were unable to produce the 850,000 tons. So we defaulted on the loan. And then they decided to roll over that delivery to this year. The quantity is 374,000 tons. This is the figure they gave us during the transition. And so, now that we have assumed office, we have to look at how we can deal with this debt and many other debts at the sector before we can make progress. And so, what we are trying to do is to first and foremost take the office, go through the books, ascertain for ourselves whether the information we are getting is actually what is on the ground. Because we are picking some information that suggests that even the figures we have are far, far, far below the real figures. So until we get the real figures, we are unable to make a determination as to how to contain them. And then as soon as the chief executive is appointed and the Cocoa Board is put in place, the Ghanaian people will be made to know exactly what we have inherited. So I'll crave your indulgence to exercise patience. When the chief executive comes and the board is in place, the question will be properly answered.
Any further question?
Mr. Chair, I trust in the capacity and capability of the nominee, and so I'll leave the rest of my questions for now. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. It's now the turn of Honorable Dr. Isaac Yao Opoku.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Chairman, let me also add my voice in congratulating my good friend and my namesake for his nomination. Chairman, the nominee is on record to have said that Cocoa Board management wasted 3.4 billion as administrative expenditure. And indeed, this has been captured in the NDC manifesto, that the NDC government will prioritize investment in cocoa production over wasteful administrative expenditure to improve the livelihood of cocoa farmers. Chairman, I have the audit report, and it has given the breakdown of the administrative expenditure. Chairman, with your kind permission, I would read, this is just a, We have auditors' remuneration, depreciation, amortization of intangible assets, directors' remuneration, staff costs, legal and professional expenses, rent and rates, bank charges, bond expenses, maintenance/utility costs, head office and division operations. Included in the administrative expenses is an amount of 942,982,000 Ghana cedis incurred on productivity enhancement program. Chairman, my question is, which of these expenditure do you consider as wasteful, and which one will you abandon when you are given the approval?
Thank you. Let's have some order and take the answer to the question.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, my argument was clear. I was speaking on the floor of the House, and I did indicate that I find it extremely difficult appreciating why, at a time when cocoa production is declining, office expenditure is ballooning. And I refer to the Auditor General's report that in 2021, Ghana produced 1,047,000 tons of cocoa, and office expenditure was 1.7 billion Ghana cedis. In the following year, cocoa production declined from 1,047,000 tons to 655,000 tons. But office expenditure, according to the Auditor General's report, increased to 2.6 billion. The following year, cocoa production declined to 530,000. Office expenditure again increased to 3.4 billion. So if you establish this inverse relationship between office expenditure and cocoa production, every rational being will question whether you are being fiscally prudent or there is some kind of fiscal laxity in the administration. And so I don't know how my colleague, who is knowledgeable in the sector, can defend this indefensible situation. But I thought that leader, minority leader has
that question.
All right, I'll slow down. Chairman, I'll ask no, I'm not done. Chairman, the NPP administration established the Tree Crop Development Authority by Act of Parliament. In the NDC manifesto, you intend to initiate the Tree Crop Development Program, and you have listed 8 crops, some of which are not in the Tree Crop Development Authority. I want to find out from the honorable nominee whether you intend to scrap the Tree Crop Development Authority.
Mr. Chairman, there is a difference between the authority as an institution and programs. In our manifesto, we are talking about programs. But I must say that we are all aware that government is a continuum. It continues, it doesn't end. And so whatever programs, projects that are ongoing under the NPP government, the erstwhile NPP government, the incoming administration will make decisions and incisions, tailor it to fit into our agenda and execute it to perfection.
Thank you very much. Any further question?
Chairman, my last question. In your manifesto, under the caption, Agriculture for Economic Transformation Agenda, AETA, you indicate that the NDC government will create farm banks within the agricultural zone to ease access to land and irrigation facilities. Nominee, considering the intricate nature of our land tenure system, how feasible do you see this arrangement? In other words, do you intend to nationalize these farm banks?
Mr. Chairman, that policy intends to address the very challenge that he mentioned. Normally, people encounter a lot of difficulties accessing land for agricultural purposes. We want to make agriculture attractive to the youth and everybody in this country. So we will want to acquire the land, prepare the land for agricultural purposes, then hand over the land to prospective investors so we can increase production and drive our nation towards food sufficiency. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Chairman, I'm not clear. The lands are in the hands of the chiefs. Follow up.
Very well, but what you said is that you are not clear. So if you have a follow-up question, draw my attention to the follow-up question.
Chairman,
so please proceed to ask the follow-up question.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Chairman, as you know, the lands are in the hands of individuals and farmers, and you know the complex nature of our land tenure system. So how are you going to acquire those lands? Because it is possible that you will not get any contiguous land to be considered as your farm banks. So that is my concern. How are you going to be able to acquire continuous lands? You approach who?
Mr. Chairman.
The question is not directed to you.
Mr. Chairman, what we will do is first and foremost to identify the owners of the land. If the land belongs to the chiefs, we go to the chiefs. If it belongs to families and the family head is Honorable Brian Champon, we'll go to him, discuss with him, acquire the land, and then prepare it for the agricultural use. Simple. Who acquire the land. Land acquisition is done by government, by any other person. You want the method to acquire.
Now is the turn of Honorable Jijoli Gakpe.
Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Nominee, you are welcome. And then congratulations to you. I know my ranking is very competent, very diligent, and then I have worked with you for the 4 years. I have no doubt about your capability. At this juncture, I have no question for you, just to congratulate you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It's now the turn of Uma. You have no question. Very well, very well. Honorable Rita, no question. You have one question. Please go ahead and ask.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. And I wish to congratulate the nominee on his nomination by His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. And I have no doubts in my mind, working with you as a friend on the Agri Committee, that you can deliver to us. But one area I would really want you to critically look at is the growing, that is the gardening in the homes and then the schools. Yes. So that's one area I believe when we're growing up, we used to have gardens at home and we planted pepper, tomatoes, onions, and it really helped us. And so I would wish that you take critical care of that. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and congratulations again.
Thank you very much. It's now the turn of Honorable Patrick Yaboma.
Thank you very much,
He
Chairman.
indicated he has a question.
That's my good friend, Eric, Chairman. Congratulations. The gentleman from Sankore. Eric, I know you are passionate about how to get the youth into agriculture and also agri-extension services. I know you answer my question with those two issues that I've raised. My question is from your manifesto, the NDC's manifesto, 2024, page 78 of 200, at paragraph 3.11, sub 1 and 5. Your manifesto made a very bold promise of rehabilitating a lot of dams. I saw the Pualugu multi-purpose dam there. I saw it. And it's in your manifesto. I've given you the page. You listed a lot, Accra Plains and what have you. How much would it cost you to undertake this rehabilitation programs? And I believe you've done your numbers and you'll be able to tell Ghanaians how much it's going to cost your ministry. I know the House will approve of you. We know what you are made of. But I want to know how much it will cost you to rehabilitate all the dams listed under paragraph 5 of the party's manifesto, the NDC. And I wish you the very best, Eric. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, the question posed by my colleague is in threefold. The first one has to do with youth in agriculture. The second one, agri-extension services. And the last one is on irrigation. And so I will tackle them one after the other. Youth in agriculture. Mr. Chairman, I read a report issued in 2021 by Haifa International. Haifa International is an international organization based in the United States. They are determined to bring an end to hunger and poverty while protecting the earth. They indicate that in Ghana, only 5% of our youth is engaged in agriculture. This is unacceptable. It means that agriculture is not attractive at all to the Ghanaian youth. And therefore, something must be done immediately to make agriculture attractive to the Ghanaian people. What can we do? First, we have to ensure that we create huge market for agricultural products to give confidence to farmers that when they produce, there will be market for their produce. And that is why in our manifesto, we have emphasized on agri-business. The marriage between agriculture and industry. Industry will serve as the huge market to buy from agriculture. Industry, again, because of the 24-hour economy policy, will have to employ a lot of people, including the children, the grandchildren, the siblings, and the nibblings of these farmers. And so all these people who were hitherto dependent on the farmers will now be empowered economically to contribute of. Because the extension officers serve as an intermediary between research and the farmers. They are the facilitators and the communicators. They help the farmers to make their decisions. They help the farmers to accept and adopt modern techniques of farming. Without them, agriculture cannot develop. Unfortunately, in Ghana, the agricultural extension officer to farmer ratio is around 1 extension officer to 1,500 farmers. Mr. Chairman, reading the handing over notes, because of the priority that we have given to agriculture, as you rightly mentioned, in our manifesto, we have indicated that agriculture is going to be the engine, the pivot, the fulcrum around which all the economic activities will revolve. And therefore, we'll make sure more of these people are recruited to push the agenda forward. On the issue of irrigation, you are asking about the cost of we were putting our manifesto together. And it will be inappropriate for me to put that figure out, as that is not the figure we are going to use to put up the infrastructure. So, Honorable Boama, you have been here for a long time. You know the procedures. As soon as the budget is presented and this issue is provided, the cost will be indicated in there for us to debate. It is premature for you to raise this issue here.
Thank you very much. Very well. I will now give the floor to
Mr. Chair.
Honorable Chief Whip.
This is a follow-up. This is just a follow-up to the
Well, you can
nominees.
ask your follow-up question and thereafter follow up with your substantive question because it's your turn.
Okay. So, Honorable Nominee, let me commend you. I have no doubt that you will be able to live up to the billing. You have shown demonstrable confidence, so I have confidence in you, and I want to commend you highly. However, you made a comment on the farmer extension officer ratio. I know that it's been a challenge for a while, even before the NPP took over. I know when it comes to these things, you are more patriotic. And I want to see that sense of patriotism in you this evening. Now, it was difficult. We came in under Dr. Akoto, the same problem. Also a 3 years time. It improved a bit. It improved significantly. Okay? Then, compared to yours was so bad. So if it's a question of farmers to extension ratio, you don't really have the moral right to come and be describing how bad the situation was. How bad the situation was. So we did well. Dr. Akoto did very well. Would you agree with me on that?
Mr. Chairman, I recall vividly that this issue has been debated upon on the floor. We were told by the Honorable Akoto on the floor of the House that the government was recruiting 1,200 extension officers. But the following year, when they brought the budget and I checked the staff ceilings, I realized that they had recruited only 217. And when we asked them, they said the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development was responsible for the recruitment of the rest. I follow up to check on their staff ceilings, and they were completely missing. And so, leader, sometimes, apart from what we hear on the floor, we have to go beyond that to ascertain whether the paper information is in consonance with the reality.
Okay, that's fine. Maybe we'll have another day for this debate. Yes, we'll have another day for this debate. Not today, he's not ready. He's not ready. Where he's seated, oh, leader, oh, sorry. So, Honorable Nominee and a friend, you have been eloquent on agri-business, and I hear you use that expression a lot. Are you able to elucidate and also contextualize it in the current situation we find ourselves as a country? What do you mean by agri-business? In what context?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, agriculture is simply the growing of plants and the raising of animals. But agribusiness focuses on profiting from agriculture using technology. And so in the current situation, agribusiness is anchored on production, processing, transportation, and distribution. And so we have a situation where there is no link between agriculture and industry. We in the NDC believe that the only way to make agriculture attractive to the youth, The only way to make agriculture profitable, lucrative venture for people to invest in is to marry the two. So that when you produce, value is added to it, you increase your export, you reduce your import, you restore stability to the exchange rate, and then create conducive atmosphere, conducive and congenial business environment for businesses to thrive, throwing out millions of jobs to absorb the teeming youth of our nation.
Okay, so,
any further question?
Yes.
Please go ahead.
Mr. Chair, the nominee knows that changing the mindset of our teeming farmers to switch from the normal subsistence and cattlers and who has been a challenge for a very long time. It is easy to say that, well, it's a challenge and therefore we are going to encourage our youth to go into it. What will be the narrative? What are you going to do? You have 4 years. What are you going to do to change this thinking? It is not easy as you're saying it. I have done some consultancy for MEDA, and you go to typical areas where our farmers are. And it's about subsistence farming. It's about what they want to eat. They farm what they are going to eat. So farm, excuse me to say, to the mouth. Exports only is considered when we are looking at free zone companies, and foreigners come and flood this space and take over. I just wish that 4 years from now, we can have evidence to say that indeed we have changed the mindset and the thinking of our farmers and our youth. I don't know how you're going to do this. It's not going to be an easy task. Many a time we find this thing, we state them in our manifestos. This is not the first time your manifesto is talking about agri-business. It's not the first time. So look into the microphone and tell the teeming Ghanaian youth what you are going to do. I have confidence in you, but it's not going to be easy. What are you going to do to translate these matters practically? How differently are you going to approach this?
Mr. Chairman, first and foremost, we are going to launch a program akin to a champion's Operation Feed Yourself. Under that program, every Ghanaian, every household would be encouraged to own a home garden. At least we should take advantage of the rich soil to produce the basic vegetables that we need in our homes. We are also going to encourage institutional farming. Under this, every secondary school in this country will be made to own a farm. We are going to liaise with my brother, Honorable Haruna, if given the nod, the Minister for Education, to recruit laborers for the secondary schools to help them prepare school farms. Mr. Chairman, if we're able to do this, if for nothing at all, we can reduce the cost of school feeding. We can also improve both the qualitative and the quantitative aspect of the food that is served to our students. Then again, we are also going to encourage the churches and the Muslim entities. Already, some of them are into farming. We can talk about the Savior Church. They are into serious farming. We can talk about the Pentecost Church, the Christo Asafo Church, and many others. I cannot mention all of them. And Seventh-day Adventists and all of them. We want to encourage all of them to also invest in farming. Mr. Chairman, nature has blessed us with land that is capable of giving us the food that we can eat and even export. And so we have to take advantage of that. Now, regarding the peasant farmers issue,
thank you very much, Honorable Nominee. I'm not taking that. I just want to thank the nominee. So go ahead with your question.
Okay. So
Order.
Yeah, it's Honorable Eric. Do I have your attention?
Mr. Chairman, you have my attention, except that I suspect some kind of a breach of, contract here. Because just before when I entered, you told me that, oh, my brother asked for you, I won't ask you any question, because you are capable. But you are bombarding me with a lot of questions.
Mr. Chair, my friend knows that we both know each other. And I'm doing this because of the people of this country. Just between the two of us, I could have decided not to ask you. But people, our Ghanaians are listening to you. And they need to hear some good words from you. Eric, let me test your knowledge on this. Smart agriculture, sustainability, climate change. You know, these are current words that are used in the current narrative in terms of sustainability, green agriculture, and all that. How are you able to situate this in our situation? And this may be my last question. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, all the issues or the terminologies you have raised or broached here point to one particular term: how to sustain the environment, to make agriculture sustainable as well, how to implement policies that are environmentally friendly. But to properly respond to the question, I just, as part of my preparation towards this vetting, I read from an Indian agronomist and humanitarian, M.S. Swaminathan, who has been described by the United Nations as the father of economic ecology. And he said this: when agriculture goes wrong, nothing else will have the chance to go right. When your agricultural policies go wrong, food inflation will be rising. Food import bill will be rising. Unemployment rate will be rising because you are importing more and you are generating exchange rate vulnerabilities that will have the tendency to convulse the entire business environment, leading to business collapse and unemployment rising. And so the policies we have crafted in our manifesto are technically achievable, economically sustainable, and socially acceptable. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Chairman, let me thank the nominee. I want to thank you for responding to my questions, and also to tell you that we are going to follow you with an eagle eye. All the beautiful things you've said, get prepared. Get prepared that we are not going to take them lightly at all.
They are saying you should rather follow with a tiger eye. Honorable Deputy Minority Leader, do you have a comment?
Thank you very much. Honorable nominee. Congratulations. Yeah, I know that you have a number of beautiful programs that you want to roll out there. But I have a responsibility because we were in the chamber when we passed our affirmative action bill into law. And you know very well that in pursuing these programs, we have to take into consideration the women and some marginalized groups. And these people always face barriers to land ownership and access to credit. How will you tackle these systemic issues to create a more inclusive agricultural sector as you are proposing out there? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, according to a report issued by the World Bank in 2021, in Ghana, 44.1% of women are employed in agriculture. My view is that it is a good thing. The only problem is that they are confronted with challenges like their male counterparts. But I think the issue relating to credit has already been addressed. I did mention that we will establish Ghana Agricultural Insurance, under which will subsidize agricultural insurance to de-risk agricultural lending and allow the banks to offer credit to our farmers. And so the women in agriculture will take advantage of this opportunity to access credit to expand their farming activities. And then you also raise the issue of land acquisition. I think that has also been dealt with when we talk about the land banks and the fact that we want to prepare the lands, allocate to the farmers, deploy the extension officers, and make sure they deliver.
Thank you very much. Honorable, yeah, you want to? Yeah.
Chairman, just a quick follow-up. On agro-insurance, I know countries like India, I think India, Kenya, Zambia, and a few others in Africa are doing it. I don't know if you have reverted your minds to the need for actuarial scientists to do some good work on this. Because it's a good thing, though, but if you want to bring it to in our country, you have to check on all these variables. Even the Insurance Act may have to come under an amendment. Maybe you have to think about it well, because if you are going to say, I am going to take you on, because I'll be filing questions very soon. So get your actuarial scientists to be doing the calculations and be sure it's something you want to do. Yes. I don't know if you have done that.
Mr. Chairman,
yes, a follow-up.
Mr. Chairman, it is a policy captured in our manifesto. And so all that we have to do to make it implementable has been done.
Thank you.
I'll just add, Honorable Nominee, I realize that you've been concentrating so much on crops, and you have not spoken much on poultry and other aspects of it. And then I also want to know something about how you were dealing with the disabilities. I've mentioned vulnerable group, but disabilities must be a key area that you also have to do. Thank you.
Please, your response, the poultry.
Mr. Chairman.
Oh, you've noted it.
Mr. Chairman.
Very well. Please.
Mr. Chairman,
poultry and
on the poultry sector, I think it is important I speak to it, because the poultry farmers out there want to hear something from me. Reading the 2024 budget.
Why are you acting this way? You are supposed to be nominated. Your good conduct would, why? You have not, your nomination has delayed. You are not going to pray. If I were you, I won't be coming here. Then you are taking a fight with the minority leader. How would I pray for you? Can you leave here, go and pray? Your thing has delayed. All your colleagues have their names out. Yours has delayed. And you are still coming here sharing power.
I love to be here. And I belong here.
Order, Honorable Nominee, your response to the question.
Yeah, but
please,
Chairman,
the response first. Then
respectfully,
you can come
Chairman,
in and ask.
my first question was on the poultry industry and what we are going to do to revamp it, because it's so important. And so, because of that, I wanted to just comprehensively. Yeah, that's one.
Are you a coach?
Mr. Chairman, reading the 2024 budget, specifically paragraph 402, we are told that in 2022, Ghana's total consumption of poultry was estimated at 324,000 metric tons. Out of this, only 15,000 tons, constituting 4.6%, was produced in Ghana. And so the bulk of the poultry product that is consumed in Ghana is imported. This clearly indicates that the poultry sector is in comatose and needs resuscitation. For this reason,
Honorable Nominee, you are before the committee. You are neither debating on the floor nor on the campaign platform. You know, I've told you, and I spoke through Honorable Ahi.
Mr. Chairman, to revamp the poultry sector, we have provided for a program in our manifesto called Poultry Farm to the Table Program. Under this program, we want to work with the Poultry Farmers Association